How's it going, man? It's good to be. I've been dragged in by the Inquisition. I'm in here. I've been locked in a dungeon. I've been suffering, guys.
That's
send help.
That's slanderous. Slander. He's here of his own free will, and he better not say anything otherwise, or else we'll take his toenails.
There you go. Oh no, oh man.
It's good to have you, man.
Sustenance for the week.
That's right. We're gonna leave you in that cage.
Yeah.
I actually, it's good to like talk to you.
Yeah.
I've been watching your stuff for a minute, and
thank you. I appreciate it.
I enjoy it. It's genuine. It feels genuine, and it feels authentic. And I've talked to you a little bit already, and
yeah.
I think we're on the same page about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's cool. Good to have you. Good to finally talk to you. And so to ease us into the conversation, I want to talk. I brought it up before. A lot of these things that I bring up, we've already talked about. But your last alliance, I love that, and I think that's a I think that's a great initiative. I like the mindset, of just bringing creators together and forming a more tight-knit community. I really appreciate that, and it was one of the things that really made me want to talk to you, because I felt like because of that we were of the same mind.
In a lot of ways, I think I've mentioned to you before, but like people were like, "Oh, you should make a Discord. And I was like, "Okay, cool. I can make a Discord, and then it will just get underused, or like the problem with small creator Discords is there just isn't enough like volume for people to actually do stuff with." And I looked at other people's Discords, and I'm like, yeah, they have the same problem. There's nothing they're doing wrong, especially. It's just that people don't hang around on small Discords as much as bigger Discords. And I was like, well, why don't we just create everybody in one, all the small creators in one, or we even got a few big creators in as well, like I even got Alex the Rambler in, who was one of the people I watched growing up, which was kind of crazy. Do you know him, Alex the Rambler?
Alex the Rambler?
He kind of does Hoi 4 stuff as well. Yeah.
No, I've never heard of him.
If you search him up, he does like Hoi 4 stuff now, but he used to do like loads of Total War stuff.
Good for him.
And we got him in as well, which was great, because I watched him when I was growing up like a lot, and I was like, oh cool, he wants to join. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the reason we started this, not to like say, oh, we're bigger than anyone else, or we're like this person or that person. It's just actually because a lot of people are such small channels that they can never grow, and we're like, well, we want to give you a place to grow. It's completely free. We're not going to ask you for anything. We're not going to demand that you post. We're not going to. I said openly at the beginning, like, we're not expecting anyone to post. If you want to advertise this server on your channel, you can. You can't. It's up to you. And people have and people haven't. So that's fine. And there's no like prerequisite to joining. You have to like do this or that. Obviously it helps, but that's not the point of the server. The point of the server is actually to connect small creators for doing bigger projects. And then we just like build a community around that to kind of do stuff. Like, for example, recently we did a tournament, I think featuring 44 players, I think 2v2s. And I got a lot of traction for people. We had like armor clans as well. They were coming in and throwing their teams in, and different people we never would have met. So that's pretty fun.
That is fun.
It was pretty good fun.
Yeah. So I guess you kind of mentioned it already, but your original purpose behind making it was just bringing in smaller creators and giving them a platform to grow. Yeah.
I'm a small creator as well. And when I started the server, it was last year. I think I had less than. I actually don't know what kind of sub count I was on. Maybe like 7,000 or 8,000, which is a lot of subs. But like considering the gap between that and the nearest big creator it's a long way.
Yeah.
So everyone else is on this sort of. I was like post. When I started out, I think in 2023, it took me a year to get to 1,000 subs, and then like another year it took me maybe like 9,000 to 10,000. So the sub count does grow after you get to 1,000. YouTube kind of like green lights your channel in the back end, and then it starts producing more analytics for it. So it's kind of like a weird, like, oh, it took me ages to get to this point, but now I'm here, I can grow more. But anyway, the point was to get all these like small Total War channels that produce great content. And I've met those people recently that just produce really good Napoleon content or really good Empire content, and we're just kind of pushing them together a little bit, and creating cool videos. So yeah, that's the idea, really. Yeah.
No, and I love that. I love that you want to like bring people in, because it's not.
Yeah.
People use the word community, but if you don't communicate, you're just a bunch of people. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. So I liked that. It really inspired me.
Well, thank you. It's been really rather overly successful, which I love.
Yeah.
But like only because of other people who have like taken it on board and been like, oh yeah, we can do this, we can do that. Why don't you join me for this video? I'm like dragging people in for this video or that video. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like recently, I made a video on a browser game for Napoleon Total War kind of style, and I saw that through the Discord because someone had posted their video on it, and I tagged them in the video, and I gave them like a collaboration request, so they got like stuff from it as well. I wasn't just stealing their idea, which was nice. And so that kind of like collab kind of came through for the devs actually for that browser game had loads of people come to their Discord, so it was just good for everybody. Like it's good. I like bringing people along. With success, you've got to bring your team with you. Kind of, that's my ethos.
For sure, yeah. And it's not just like it has the potential to boost your presence on the platform and get you views and stuff. But it all you also produce genuine content that you like actually like, which is a huge thing for me. If you don't like it, like what's the point? So and when I watch when I get to, it really feels like you enjoy the game. It doesn't feel like you're trying to force yourself. So I mean, either you like Napoleon and Empire and the games that you play, or you put on a really good face while you play. It's very
it's a bit of both sometimes, because that game crashes like no end. Like so with my videos, like if you watch the Spain campaign, if you watch Italy, if you watch even the 1v1s or 2v2s, like that's probably the third battle we've tried to do. Like we did a series on Quatre Bras, Leipzig, Ligny and Waterloo, the three battles that Napoleon fought before he lost at Waterloo. And we've done Quatre Bras, and we're on maybe the 5th or 6th attempt on Ligny right now. It keeps crashing, and it's really bad. And the battle map, we figured out it's the battle map now. The battle map, for some reason, crashes at exactly the same time every single game. And so we're having to go and use one of these really disgusting, like, original vanilla maps, which looks terrible.
Disgusting.
It is disgusting. You'll see it when it comes out. It's got, like, jagged edges. It's awful. It looks nothing like the Battlefield. But actually, it's kind of funny. It's going to be kind of a meme. And so the video is actually going to be better, I think, in the end. But we figured out things like that have... There's no reason for it. Like with Napoleon, a lot of the videos you'll see me crash, or people crash mid-game, and then the AI takes over and starts just like rampaging out. It's a wild game, that game. It really is.
Piece of shit is what it is. But
the coding behind it is questionable at best, let's just say.
That's a hell of a way to describe it. But I like that. You should include that. Just put it in the video. Say like,
it will be a long video.
15th attempt. Show all the parts where you crash. Show all the jagged edges. I love that. I love watching stuff like that, like behind the scenes stuff.
I'll think about it. It would be funny. That's for sure.
I agree. And game's a piece of crap, but looking back at it, looking at what we have now, it's like wasn't that bad,
No, it wasn't that bad.
It could have been worse.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
And actually, people have been starting to open up a lot more of the stuff that's behind the scenes now. Like we had an amazing modder who I actually haven't spoken to, but my friend Dan has, and he's managed to make maps twice the size of the original. And so instead of instead of a 4x4, I think it's an 8x8 now, which is huge for the game. Because now you can technically have, with these mods, a lot of the units you can't see the whole battle visibility. So you have to do a lot of scouting. But when the map's twice the size as the original, which I think 2x2 or 2x3 is the original, and then they extended it to 4x4, and now it's 8x8. I think. Don't quote me on that completely. But now the maps are even bigger. players are going to have to really like use like logistics and scouting to actually like play battles, which is going to make it even more in depth, which I really like. If the crashes weren't a thing, it'll be a great game.
If the game,
like you spend like 2 hours on the game and then it crashes, you're like,
yeah,
and you just lose the will to live after a while.
If the game wasn't a total pile of crap, it'd be fun, right?
And anything can cause crashes. So
it could be the smallest thing. You'll never know. You'll never figure it out.
Yeah.
But with the Last Alliance, I mentioned that because I like it, and also because I saw when I initially saw it, I think I saw that Andy and Terminator were in there, and that kind of concerned me because obviously I take issue with them, or not with them specifically, but with their content, I guess mostly. And I was worried that you were going to be somebody I didn't get along with, but fortunately that wasn't the case.
They've been great guys to help us out initially. They don't really participate in the server, and that's like completely up to them. We've had a few chats. It's mostly, the server's mostly for being able to talk to people, to fellow creators. Like you have that access initially, and now it's developed into more of a community server. We have like 600 and so people on there now, but it used to be just creators. That was the initial idea. But no, we've had like Andy's helped me with thumbnails when I was just starting out, like through the server. Like I send him a couple of thumbnails. I didn't know what I was doing. I said, Andy, is this like a good idea? And he was like, yeah, this is good, this is bad.
Yeah.
So like the server's been good in some ways. We haven't really had a big problem yet, but hopefully never. But yeah.
And that was going to be my other question. Is like, did they do anything? You know, like because I don't even think the only person. Well, not the only person. The person that I've seen mention that he's even a part of it is French Monk.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I ain't got no problem with French Monk. And I'm sure other people have seen it too, but I know I haven't seen it on Andy's or Terminator's. But you mentioned that you didn't really worry about that, or that didn't matter to you. So
no, if they want to do stuff separately, that's fine. This is just it's more like small creators is the focus. We just wanted to try and include people who wanted to be included. That was all.
For sure.
But no, it's not. They're not like running it or anything. We're just like
they're just there.
We're trying to build it as big as we can without like collapsing the tower.
Sure.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. As long as they're not rocking the boat, right? It's okay.
Yeah, they're good. We talked to them about like collabs and stuff, but we haven't managed. I think Dan's done a collab with Andy, but we haven't had. We're trying to get just more small creators on, just to give them exposure.
Right.
Because the way YouTube works now is sometimes that if you add people as collabs on a video, you can when you go to subscribe, you can subscribe to everyone immediately rather than subscribing and then going into someone else's channel via the description. And so it's a lot easier for big channels to support smaller channels that way. So that's the idea with the collabs kind of stuff on the YouTube platform, at least. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Have they done any collabs?
Not with us. Not with us at the moment. But I think it's just because their content's quite different. Like we do some collabs. I think with I can't remember the other Total War guy's name. I know Terminator did a NewTeutonica. I think ironically NewTeutonica Jerusalem campaign with someone, but I can't remember who it was. I think it was like Simpsy Total War or someone.
Did he?
And maybe they're getting that name wrong. I think he did. And so I don't think that was through the server, but we're hoping to get them on games. They're just very busy in their own lives, and it's very hard. We found it very hard to get past the 4-player mark sometimes.
Sure.
Because the calendars just go everywhere. People have different things going on, and so we're kind of like sticking to 2v2s, 3-player games, maybe a 4-player game coming up very soon. Actually, we've just redesigned an entire game for a 4-player game. So we'll talk about that in a minute if you want. But
sure.
Yeah, that's our next big project.
Yeah, I bring them up because you mentioned when we talked before that you wanted to, if I remember correctly, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong.
All right.
You wanted to show them in a better light, and
yeah, absolutely,
convince me that, or attempt to convince me or suggest that they're good people, and I don't think they're bad people. I don't think they're evil. I just I just think they're cunts. I don't respect the way they conduct themselves on this platform.
What kind of example? What kind of? Maybe I can like show you the other side.
Well, misleading thumbnails, first of all, seemingly large lack of understanding of the core content and IP they claim to represent. Just stuff like that.
Thumbnails is a big debate on YouTube, isn't it? Really, at the moment with AI and things like that. I've used AI a little bit, but very, very rarely in my thumbnails you'll find AI. I use AI to things like if there's like an annoying thing in my image, I'll just do a replace or a whatever to take off that spot. But I never like put. If you look at my thumbnails, it'd be very obvious if it's AI, and you'll be like laughing at the fact how stupid it looks. That's how I take AI. I get what you mean by misleading, and you're gonna draw to one of my videos, I think, in a minute anyway, which will be hilarious.
Well, but, the only reason I was going to mention it was because I was going to make that video that commented about it. And say that it's already been resolved and we've already talked about it, and I would direct them to this podcast or this video or whatever.
I'm happy for it.
And it leads into my next point. Like, nobody's beyond redemption. Like you, not to say that you needed to be redeemed. I'm just saying in general. I don't declare anybody beyond, being able to participate in the community. You, for example, you were very receptive to what I said and to the criticism I put forth, and you did it once, you didn't do it before, you never did it again. No big deal, moving on.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a matter of taking those steps, and you also mentioned like that this could open the doorway to make a bridge to start talking to some of these people, but
you have to moderate your language slightly when you talk to them, but can't open with that because that would be a little wild.
We can do it on my channel, it's fine, but it's like what was I saying? Like the conversation that we would have, right? I imagine would be me going, the stuff that you make is harmful not just to the Total War community, but to the art of video game creation as a whole, and maybe you should pull back on that because you're doing nothing but perpetuating this harmful cycle that these companies have been pushing for years, ever since I've been on this platform.
Yeah.
And then the response would be like, no. It's like, well, okay, it's not really a debate of whether or not that happened. It's more of what are you going to do now that you've been made aware? What steps are you going to take to start?
I think
fixing that damage.
I think if you look at their channels, I think maybe the reason that they obviously take a different approach to Total War. They're more like gaming journalists, I'd imagine. And Andy was a gaming journalist, I think. I think he mentioned that in a couple of videos.
Was he? I knew I didn't imagine that.
No, he did say that, which is great. I mean, he does. That was his career, and he went to like gaming or whatever. So, but I think they do play these games. I'm not sure if it's their full-time job or not. I don't know. But I mean, Total War is great. I mean, you could look at it that one way, but also you could look at it like they're exposing these old games to a new audience, and that exposure is actually helping the algorithm to propel smaller channels like myself and anyone really that's making these sort of gameplay videos into a more larger audience. You could suggest that, like, if they get 100k views on Medieval 2 2026, I'm just giving a generic title, like everyone else's medieval game is going to get suggested, but sort of lower down the cooking, what's the word? Totem pole? I don't know what the phrase is. Lower down the pecking order.
Right.
Kind of like that. So sometimes, these videos can be, in one light, maybe misleading, but in other ways, they could be just exposing that game again to people who have never played it before. Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do.
Well,
they're trying to keep updated the people who are playing it maybe, or walked away from it, or yeah.
At what cost, though?
Well, for example, I think Andy made a MEX. Is MEX?
M2EX.
Is that the correct one? M2EX.
Yeah, M2EX, and then he made the one about Rome, yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of helping expose that mod to a wider audience through his channel, and that's not a bad thing, is it? Would you say?
I think it depends.
Because like you're gonna before you answer, but these, I think it's Dolphy, right, who put the video, who made
Dolphy,
it, correct? Yeah. So he made it. That's great, and it kind of got spread out in the historical community, and then these bigger channels notice it, and they're like, "Oh, we'll make a video on that because actually it's decent," and then they spread out to a wider audience. So technically, that mod's getting propelled forward and forward. That's what I would see their videos as. It's more like a public statement to the wider audience.
Okay.
And,
well,
yeah.
Well, sure. Well, a couple things. M2EX and REX are patches, not mods.
My bad.
No. I'm not like.
That's
it's
okay.
just clarification.
Sure.
And it's Dolphy and one other guy, maybe two other people. I know one's name is Pinone, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, and that stuff is awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's groundbreaking.
When using Andy as an example again, when he's out here saying that Pharaoh is a good game. And
yeah, we can talk more about Pharaoh, mate. That's a good point.
Pharaoh's a good game, and all the stuff that Creative Assembly is doing with Medieval 3 is actually very positive, and that's Terminator's thing. I feel quite positive and uplifting. It's like that's the most insane thing. If like I understand the concept of posting something and then that getting traction, but I mean, do they want to thank you? What in what context are you doing that? Are you doing that because it's popular and it'll get views, or are you doing that because it's actually important to you and it's a part of something that you love and truly enjoy, or is it another paycheck? And with their particular track record, that's called into question. Even if it's not true, it is. And when they're out here, kissing Creative Assembly's ass, for lack of a better euphemism, it's kind of hard to view that as anything other than, oh, this is getting traction, so I should make a video about it.
I get it can look like a public sort of arm, a YouTube arm of the marketing team. I get that idea. I totally get.
Well, there's no reason to believe that it's not that. Is my point.
Well, I think they're probably. I don't think they're that in tune with the inner workings of CA. I'd be very surprised if they were.
Well, that's
because you have
thing.
to go through so many NDAs and things to have even access to that. And if you say something out of line that breaches your NDA, you can be sued from it. So they don't really want to go into that territory of like leaks and things.
Do they have an NDA?
Dangerous. Yeah, you have to. So if you go into creator program, you have to sign an NDA. I'm not in the creator program,
right?
But you have to sign an NDA.
Is Andy a part of the creator program?
I don't know. I didn't
think he was.
No, well, if he's not, which would make, I suppose, some sense, but I don't know. I honestly don't know who's. I'm not in that service. I don't know who is and who isn't.
Well, I think I have a pretty good understanding of who is and who is. I know, like Terminator, Andy, Resident. Those guys, I don't think they're in it, as far as I'm aware.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think it's mostly Warhammer players. That's just why I wouldn't even technically qualify for it, because what you have to have is a Warhammer-based channel. With uploading decent Warhammer content. That's their current creator program. There isn't a historical Pharaoh creator program. Right. I'm not sure how popular that would be even. So.
Right. Well, going back to what you said about like signing NDAs and stuff like that, that's kind of a breach of character right there. You sign a deal with the devil, and that's your excuse for not being genuine.
You have to sign it so you don't breach. Like,
right.
You say if they give you the early access 3 weeks early to make a video, that's what they do with these mods, and like with the new releases and stuff. You sign the NDA saying that you're not going to talk about it until the embargo has been released. I think that's what the NDA is about. Anything discussed internally, you can't release. That's kind of the NDA. Yeah.
Well, the way I understand it is that it covers whether it's like an NDA or an unwritten agreement. Like you're not allowed to talk badly about the games. And
you have to have a positive relationship with CA. Yeah, I know. I think the term is working relationship. Yeah,
it's that, and I think you're literally not allowed to talk badly about the games. Like
I don't know about that. I wouldn't know.
You're gonna get kicked out of the program if you talk badly.
I think it's their determination of what that means, but I think anything that goes over the line is up to them, not the creator anyway.
Right.
But
see, that's the point.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is you shouldn't be making deals with this company because they suck. And if the excuse for why you can't be genuinely critical about something is because you don't want to upset the multi-million-dollar company, that's not an excuse. And it's even less of an excuse if you have no reason to uphold that kind of relationship with that company. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to these creators making videos about Medieval 3 and how great it's going to be, and how positive the things that Creative Assembly is doing, when there is clear evidence just out in the open, you don't even have to do that much digging, clear evidence out in the open that there's nothing positive about what's happening, and what Creative Assembly is now is a far cry from what it was, and to suggest that these games are going to be anything more than a platform to sell you DLC and take advantage of your nostalgia and willingness to support this company is arguably, in my opinion, dishonest.
I understand the DLC. I understand the DLC angle for historical games. I think it's too far gone in like Warhammer games now. I think that's just part of the gaming world for Warhammer. They're going to make a load of DLCs. That's just part of the written narrative now. And if the community accepts that, which they have, then there's nothing you can do to push back from it. It's like, yes, you're giving them the green light. That's fine. It's with the historical games, I think that you have the most qualms with, right? With I think, was it, how many factions they're releasing?
6, but I have qualms with all of it. I have qualms with the Warhammer stuff, this stuff. The practice shouldn't be being done. It's an absurd practice that very few companies have done. You wouldn't be able to get away with it anywhere else. Like in any other industry, you wouldn't be able to do the kind of business model they've done with Warhammer 3 or with Warhammer and
technically 3 Kingdoms. They released DLC
Warhammer,
for that as well.
Yeah, well, DLC, that's fine. You have to deal with it appropriately. Back in the day, DLC was stuff the company didn't have time to finish. Now it's a mandatory requirement. It's like stuff that's being taken from the game before it's released, stuff that's in the game being put behind a paywall, being made for you to pay for. And then, Warhammer 3, I think this is the only example I have of this egregious behavior until, of course, 40K and Medieval 3 come out, where they took a game, one game, split it up into 3 parts, sold it to you as 3 different games with $200 worth of DLC each, and growing. The number grows every other month. And back to my original point, if you're making excuses for that, you're like scum. Like you shouldn't be allowed to have a voice in what determines quality, at least in regards to Total War, in my opinion.
True. I think I agree in some ways. My pushback to you would just be the business side of it, which is, if, say, take Warhammer 1. Hold on. I'm going to
just let you know, I don't care.
I know, but it's how games work now. Warhammer 1, for example, released with 4 factions, correct?
5.
5 factions. 4 or 5. You know more about it than I do. I've never played Warhammer 1.
Yeah.
But I know the concept behind it is, if you make... they don't know how fantasy's going to perform in Total War. Okay, so they make Warhammer 1 as the concept. This is my opinion. They make it with the 5 factions. They show that it's a working concept, right? And then they add things in, more DLCs. Then Warhammer 2 comes out, which is a lot bigger game and arguably the best one. But because they've released Warhammer 1 and it's successful, they can prove to investors that it's going to be a worthy investment, right? So the reason they did it in stages is I don't think it's physically possible to make that game. It's so big in one whole game, like all the way through. Hold on, all the way through from Warhammer 1 to Warhammer 3. It's too big a game. Otherwise, you're going to get into a GTA 6 situation where we're not going to have a game for 20 years or however long it's been. That's my opinion. I don't think it's feasibly possible in the situation, in the economic situation they were in, which is Hyenas and Rome 2, remember, which weren't particularly great eras for CA, that investors would be like, yeah, we're going to give you $100 million, $200 million to produce a game that has no feasible groundwork and you haven't proved to us that it can actually work. I don't think they could get the money for that. Do you see what I'm saying from that position?
Yes, and okay. So
what is that not a clear position?
Let's just okay. You said a lot of things there that is making my blood pressure rise.
Take it one at a time.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say this.
I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit as well.
Right. Well, you shouldn't because it's the devil. But here's my argument.
You are the Inquisition. You should know about that.
Here's my argument for that. Within your suggestion, within your argument, you put forth one of the most glaring issues of all, and that's the fact that they're looking to please investors. They're not looking to make a game worth playing, right? So that's number one. Number two, if it was not feasible, which I don't buy for a minute, if it was not feasible to make this game complete and finished and worth buying on day one, it should not have been made. Period.
Right.
If you have any moral fiber or ethical fiber, it shouldn't be made. You know, I get a lot of arguments from people when I for example, Naval Battles. You know, I get a lot of arguments from people. Oh well, Games Workshop. You know, the licensing's all messed up. Okay, well then maybe Naval Battles are from at least Empire. I'm pretty sure it's the first time Naval Battles were like actually 3D. Yes. They became an integral part of Total War. If you cannot hold true to the expectations you set in previous iterations and to the expected quality people have come to expect from your game because you are doing business with a company that can't figure out its IP licensing correctly, you shouldn't make the game. Okay? Games Workshop rolled up to Creative Assembly and pitched this idea, and there wasn't any deliberation on whether or not it should be done. Games Workshop rolled up with bags of money, and their eyes went cha-ching. That's the story. So it's not like this moral dilemma of, well, the game couldn't have been made unless we released it 3 times for $60. And if you round it all up, if you add it all up, the game is like the game is still close to $400. And it's still barely
never
works.
Buy it full price, so you'd never buy it full price.
Well, that's what they're selling it for, right? That's what they're telling you at full price. This is what this product is worth, and so that's how I judge it. And by those merits, by the merits that they set forward, I say, nonsense, good sir. You are lying. It is not worth that much, and it isn't. I think there are tons of there are mods that add units into the game for free, you know, and they're coming out with this.
Yeah, which, funnily enough, we're making a video on, which is kind of hilarious. I'm committing the cardinal sin of editing one right now. Actually,
as we speak.
I before the call, not right now.
Oh, okay. I was like, right now.
Yeah, my hands are moving like a duck.
That's what I was about to say. That takes an intense mental fortitude.
We're using a mod to create a Napoleonic version of Warhammer 3 and try and beat all the AI without using any magic. This is our idea.
All right.
So there we go. So it's a kind of a cool concept. We're trying to like take historical and plop it into Warhammer. It's not going very well.
Well,
but yeah, there we go.
Of course it wouldn't. But what was I saying about the mods? You know, they people make mods and then put the units and factions in the game, and that's essentially what Creative Assembly does. You know, you're paying $15 a pop for a mod somebody already made in their basement for free. You know? That's
true. You could say that. Yeah.
So for them to suggest that this product is worth $400 is just outrageous. And you know, going back to fine. Let's say I accept everything you said about how they, you know, from the business aspect.
Sure.
You have to present me a product that's worth buying. You know.
Well, obviously, it was worth buying. Well,
it wasn't. It's not. It's not worth buying in the sense that it's a quality product. It was.
It depends on your opinion of the product. I wouldn't buy it because I'm not interested in fantasy. But people who are interested in fantasy obviously thought it was. Otherwise, it wouldn't have done a second and third game.
Right.
That's what you could suggest.
Those people are wrong and stupid. Is the problem. The quality is not an opinionated.
It depends
thing.
how you determine quality.
It does. Quality is quality. You know, it's a standard factor of life. If the game is half finished, and the business model sets it up to be half finished by default, so they can sell you DLC, that is a below standard game. That is not a quality game. That is a DLC platform. It's barely a video game, you know. So I mean,
right. And you're comparing it to like Medieval 2, I'm assuming, where all the factions came in, like 20 factions or whatever it was.
Well, I'm comparing it to the concept of video game creation. You know, if it's not worth buying, it's not worth buying. You can have an opinion. You know, you can say Warhammer is a great game. You can say Pharaoh is a great game. You can say Creative Assembly is a great company, but you're wrong. You know, that doesn't change. You're entitled to your dumbass opinion, but you're wrong. You know, so it's like, you know, with all the qualifiers of the business side of it, you still have to present me with something that is quality. And if your only saving grace is an IP that isn't even yours, and your game doesn't float on the merit of being a good game, then it sucks. You know, I feel like that's just I would have
personally loved to see Warhammer 1 fleshed out more with more factions. I would love to see at least 8.
Well, that's Warhammer 2 and 3. Yeah, that's
right. I would personally have loved to have seen that.
Yeah.
I think that was Warhammer 2 and 3. You're right. They had at least I don't know how many factions dropped, but it's a lot of factions now.
Well, it's not.
Yeah. So personally, that's a great thing. It would be great to have more factions. I just think at the time, just as in Warhammer 40k, it's going to be a concept game to start with. Because if it isn't a concept game and it fails, like Pharaoh, for example, you could say they had like thousands of DLC, which they obviously did, because they had, you know, dynasties and stuff, but they released kind of ad hoc. They probably had a DLC pipeline for that, and they did release some. Because it failed, they scrapped it. Because Three Kingdoms failed it, they scrapped it.
Right.
So you kind of got to think, oh, we're putting all this time and money into building this cool concept. We're going to release it. If people buy it, fine. It will make a Warhammer 2, which is a better version of it. I know that's not the best business practice, but if they're like, this is our sort of Hail Mary, we don't want to commit too much to it, I think maybe that's what their thoughts on it. Not necessarily I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying.
Well, that's not an excuse either. You're a video game company. You're
like Rome 1, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rome 1, they were actually in debt when they launched it. Like, if it didn't succeed, it would be no CA. And that's great, because Rome 1 is a fantastic game in all aspects.
Right.
Yeah, it's buggy in some ways, but who cares? It was their first 3D game.
Yeah.
And so you've got to give them props for that. Just like I give them props for Empire being their first multi-map game.
Right. You know,
even though it failed in some ways.
They were afforded some grace back then because they were actually a company that cared about the piece of art they were making, and that's the decision. You know, I don't agree with the concept of what did you call it? A concept game?
It's like, it's almost like a you see like new series do it all the time. They make a pilot episode, things like that. They make. I think sometimes these games are fleshed out on paper, but because they don't want to release, they don't want to spend like 3 years making a game for it just to flop, which is what happened with Pharaoh. I think they were kind of like in midst with that Warhammer dilemma, whether if Warhammer did flop, there wouldn't be a CA. Let's be honest.
Well, and maybe we would all be better for it. We'd all be better for it at this point. You know, if you can't make good games if you can't make money making good games, then you don't deserve to make video games as a company. There are plenty of smaller studios that make good games all the time, and it's because they care. They respect the art of video game creation. I reject the idea of a concept game because in my mind, you are out to make something that people will enjoy for 10 years, 20 years. When you create something, okay, you have to decide, are we making a product or are we making art?
Mm-hmm.
If you are making a product, then you probably shouldn't be, if your mindset is to make a product, you probably shouldn't be in video game creation. If you're trying
I agree in some ways. I agree, like, I'll let you carry on, sorry.
No, you're fine. But
cut you off.
No, you're fine. If we're making video games are art. I'm this kind of person who views movies and video games as well as lines on a drawn page as art. It is an expression of oneself, one's heart and soul, one's interests, one's beliefs, and you pour that into a thing and it manifests into something that other people can experience. If your art lacks that, it's worthless. And that's what Warhammer is. It's a soulless, expressionless, solely made to profit off of the naivety and dedication people have to their hobby. And it's
I
evil.
can get where you're coming with that.
Yeah.
I think you could say it is artless and formless. In some ways, it is if you compare it to Medieval 1, as you probably compare it to, like with factions and depth, and even like. I'm trying to, let's say Shogun 2, the gold standard, right?
Sure.
Let's just compare it to Shogun 2, which is the closest to gold standard that I think a lot of people would agree on. What was I going to say? There are things in Warhammer, like, for example, muskets not reloading and things like that, and just like firing through units, and magic being a proportion that historical players would never ever consider to be something that I could never get my head around. Like with Warhammer, it's very much a front line of basic troops, and then you've got your special effect that you can kind of try and manipulate the battle, or your big unit or whatever. That's how the tabletop is, unfortunately. And so a lot of tabletop players would have been like, oh, that's kind of like what I'm doing already. Whereas Napoleonic players like myself, we don't do magic, obviously.
Yeah.
The closest to the special ability we have to work really hard to get any sort of bonuses, like with like elite units, with general positioning, with artillery, using canister to create morale debuffs. We have to work really hard to create some sort of effect on the battlefield. And so having a quick button that we can press would be a little bit too much for us. And so I think the game itself is so different to the historical games that you could even class as not in the same vein at all as a historical player, which is why I've never really played it before. And so I get it, like, it's not great in some ways, but again, it's not marketed towards historical players, it's marketed towards the gaming Warhammer tabletop community, which you can kind of see when it plays out.
Okay, well, I see what you're saying. Have you played the tabletop Warhammer game?
I've played wargaming, but not the
not Warhammer.
Not that. No, I've played 40k a little bit, but I'm not an expert on that.
Okay, so you've played it a little bit. Okay, well,
maybe you can tell me a bit more about that.
No, I found out Games Workshop was a scummy company before I could get too into it. I read up on a lot of like,
They do charge a lot of money.
Well, it's not. It's not just that. It's overpriced, but it's like the way it can. That'd be a whole other video.
Yeah, let's avoid that for now.
But Like, you know, I read the books, I read the codexes, I really got into Warhammer Fantasy, and I loved it.
Sure, that's great.
And I wanted to, you know, I wanted to start playing the tabletop. But here's the thing, all right? You know, Creative Assembly is the Total War company. Total War is on the name of the game. So you would have to, you know, regardless of historical versus fantasy, regardless of how many factions the game releases with, you would need to make something true to the Total War IP. And if you don't succeed at that, you would at least have to make something that would uphold the Warhammer Fantasy IP. These games do neither of that. It's not a good Total War game, and it's a lackluster Warhammer game. The 8 Peaks is one of my favorite bits of lore, even in the 8th edition, where everything's like basically worthless, and those books like don't cover anything. Well, not anything of interest, but you know, all of the interesting things that you would want to see at the end of it. But the War for the 8 Peaks is this 3-pronged war between night goblins, dwarves, and Skaven, and you know they're in caves, so you have tiny groups of dwarves holding choke points. They're trying to hold on to different areas of the map. You know, they're sending in, you know, scout parties and adventurers to hold off the Skaven for long enough, and they're constantly trying to outwit each other and screw each other over. You know, there's like tons of diplomacy options there, tons of on map tactical decisions that you could be making in the moment. Like, okay, well, if they set up like a not a top down, but a map of the inside of the mountain. You know, should I divert?
That would be
troops,
awesome,
right?
Yeah,
should I divert troops here to hold this off so I can hold this forge and make money, or make iron, or should I hold this off so I can recruit more troops, or I got to pull back here because I can't hold this? It doesn't even have there is nothing within this game that even taps into the sticky sap that makes Warhammer Fantasy interesting.
Fair enough.
It is a husk. It's a marketing tool. It's an advertisement for Games Workshop's plastic. So you can.
I agree with that, and that's a good actually point, which I didn't know. I don't know how. I've never read their lore, but I can kind of draw comparisons to Napoleon, for example.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that Napoleon is great in its Egypt campaign, in its Italy campaign, and its Peninsula campaign. But when you take the Grand campaign, which is the European campaign, which is supposed to be Napoleon's sort of coup de grace, it's very much a moving to city, and the AI can't keep up with the historical complexity of the game.
Right.
It's so zoomed far out, as Warhammer is a little bit, that you are just moving along one road, and there's no real tactical depth. And so I get that. I think Total War Warhammer absolutely should have had more tactical depth on the campaign map. I think they leaned way too far into individual characters, but that's the problem is, where do you go? Do you lean into characters? Because Warhammer is very character heavy, obviously.
Yeah.
So maybe what they should have done is made mini campaigns. Maybe they should have made more mini campaigns like they did in Medieval 2, like they did in Napoleon.
Well, they just should have done anything else than what they did. They did the bare minimum. You know, they did the bare minimum because they knew that these people were going to buy whatever they put out, and it was never meant to be something that meant anything to anybody. It is a DLC pipeline, and I think that has been demonstrated very well over the course of the past 15 years. You know, it is a conduit to sell you product. There was no intention to flesh these things out. There was no intention to do these things justice. And you know, it doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be that crazy. You know, just make a little mini game where sewer jacks go in and hunt for Skaven, or just do anything. Do anything. You know, you take out a third of the game, you take out naval battles, and then you streamline it. The diplomacy's not even interesting. You know, there are so many opportunities to expand and just like there are tons of old features that should just be in the game. Why, in my grimdark setting, first of all, is the game rated T? Is this for babies now? Is Warhammer for everybody? Why can't I burn down a city? Why isn't city burning a thing? What is going on?
Can't the Skaven do that? Can't the Skaven exterminate?
That's another thing. The Skaven get into settlements underneath and hang out and grow like these massive hives. Yeah. And you can do that in the game. So why is my army spawning outside of the walls? Why aren't I coming up through the sewers? It's just small stuff like that.
Siege battles have not gone well for them. Let's be honest, but
and siege battles are totally gutted. Yeah. Oh, it's a nightmare. So my point being...
But honestly, I'm not the best person to talk to about Warhammer because I'm not... Really
I know. I'm getting off track.
I would comment more, but I don't know.
No. I get it.
I don't know about it.
No, it's fine. My point being is... if you're going to comment on something, going back to what you said about Andy and Terminator and Resident not really understanding the inner workings of Creative Assembly or the IPs that they're trying to represent, maybe you should know a little bit before you comment on it, because people care, and just because you don't doesn't give you an excuse to just do whatever the hell. So looping back to that, that's my point.
Huge loop, but good. We came back around.
Yeah. Sorry. Got really off track.
That was a good trip. That was good.
Thank you. Welcome back. Sorry.
Let's talk about Medieval 3 though, because that's something I am tuned in on a little bit more at least.
Yeah.
At least I know the historical context around it, and it's a historical game, so I can talk about more like relating to other historical games. So I think, from what I understand, and you can please do correct me because I'm sure I am wrong in some way.
Sure.
Your biggest gripe with them is that you don't like people publishing videos that are saying things like, wow, great new features, but actually it's just an alpha and it could change. Is that basically them summarizing quite a lot, obviously?
Yeah, it's an abstracted version, but I do comment on stuff like that where you take something very mundane or something that has already been done and praise it to the umpteenth degree, like it's revolutionary. I also have a problem with the notion that new mechanics is what's needed to fix Total War, because obviously that's not the case. So yeah, I do take issue with stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Let's take Naval Battles. We've mentioned Naval Battles a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, personally, I don't have a thing for Naval Battles. I love them in Empire and Napoleon. They kind of sucked in Attila because Attila wasn't really, around that time, they weren't really doing like
Attila's a
Rome
bad
versus
game.
Carthage. Yeah. It's not optimized well, yeah. There's no Rome versus Carthage, there's no Salamis, there's no things like that. There's no big... There probably is some sort of barbarian naval battle with the Romans, whatever, but it's very, very minute. I got my Yeti cup, you've got your goblet. Very good. But honestly, I don't find naval battles intriguing enough to play. Rome 2's naval battles were awful because if you just did a ram, they'd immediately kill the ship and then your troll ship would get killed. It was very, very boring.
Yeah.
They could have done a lot better with that. Empire and Napoleon were probably the creme of naval battles. Shogun 2 did it okay. Fall of the Samurai did it really well, actually. If I'm completely honest. It was kind of really fun, but it does get really draining when the AI throws boats at you all the time. And so I don't honestly think Warhammer naval battles were necessary. You might disagree.
Hi.
Honestly, I'm not in tune with the lore enough to know, but I don't think it would have added a significant portion to the game. You can counteract.
Hi, bro.
I know there's like pirate factions and stuff, but like, is it really like? Is it really necessary?
It's so massive. They had to make a separate IP to encapsulate it all.
Okay, you're explaining it to me.
It would have been awesome. Okay, it would have been so sick. But no, can't do it.
Tell me the point of it though, because like, the point of it is instead of fighting on land, you're now fighting on boats.
Yeah.
But where are we going with that? With this, I think this is where they got to in development. Like they got like these orc boats coming in against the Empire boats, but like where do we go with that? Like what's the gameplay loop there, apart from boarding each other?
Are we talking about Warhammer or are we talking about Medieval 3?
Medieval 3, I want naval battles in.
Yeah.
I meant Warhammer. I say I don't think there's any reason for them to have a Warhammer.
Okay,
that's, but you can correct me, please.
So imagine you're an Empire fleet. You're going to the New World, and you've got your griffins and your cannons and your gunpowder. Okay. You're stealing your faith. You're heading to the New World because the colony over there is getting harassed by lizard people. And on your way there, you're intercepted by a platoon of undead vampire pirates, and they're boarding your ships. They're launching attacks, and in the middle of trying to maneuver your ships that are basically castles on the water.
That's pretty cool.
You have this dreadnought ship. This is another thing. You know, they had 3-way battles in Medieval 1 on the campaign. They had it in Medieval 1. Never again. They had it in Rome 1 too.
They had free-for-alls in custom, not in campaign.
No, in campaign. Medieval 1.
Campaign? I didn't know that.
Medieval 1. Me neither. 26-year-old game. So imagine if they had that in Warhammer, in this
that would be cool.
Massive dark elf dreadnought shows up, a dragon in tow, and then a leviathan comes up from the middle of it and starts screwing with your shit. Like, so what? But
where's the strategy in all of that? Because remember, we've got to think about strategy. What's the point of having a leviathan come up? Because you're not going to. How am I going to predict stuff? How am I going to maneuver things?
Well,
with fantasy and naval battles, it's a little difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm being over exaggerative here.
Okay,
because it's cool. But the grand strategy is the same it's always been. Why would you move troops from one location to another in Medieval 2 or Rome 1? And how is your financial situation and your strategic situation affected if that fleet is destroyed?
True.
You just add a bit of an extra flair to it when orc ships are attach themselves to your empire ships, and a giant hammer comes down and splits it in half. And your defense against that is blow it up before it gets close to you.
Sure. Okay. And, fair enough. I think it would look cinematically cool.
Yeah.
But whether it would add to the overall game, I don't honestly know. But I'm not a Warhammer player, so personally for me, it wasn't a huge deal. In Three Kingdoms, they didn't have it either, and that was because it was mostly a land-based game.
In China, yeah.
Pharaoh probably should have had it because there was literally a faction called the Sea People, but the problem with that era was there weren't really any naval battles at all. Like, it was mostly just them landing. There wasn't like a complex navy people had, like the Romans or the Carthaginians, and so you kind of screwed yourself there as well with the time period, which is the reason that game broke down.
Well, we're looking at it from a video game perspective. Like, I understand that in real life it's not feasible, but this isn't real life. We're making a video game.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why fantasy is interesting. Yeah.
If you come at me like, if I was to make a game and I suggested something that would be cool and feature well into it, like a morale hit point based system that is somewhat altered if you're fighting something that isn't human. You could come at me like, well, that's not realistic. It's like, okay, well, how
fantasy is realistic? Yeah.
How is that? Yeah. How is that fun? Like like the great Gabe Newell once said, I make a grocery list and go shopping. That's realistic. I'm not
right.
And it's a total war game. You have to sacrifice some historical accuracy to make a fun game.
True. Yes. Absolutely.
That's my biggest issue with Cody Bonds, because he's like, what if we just forego the idea of recruiting troops at all? That's not what he said, but that's basically the gist of it. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? So it has to be extracted.
Was he saying things like medieval factions didn't have permanent armies? Is that what he's meant? Or
I think you were calling the right video. He was talking about Alfred the Great and how there were standardized armies, and he was like, should we be deciding between a spearman and a malicious spearman? And it's the point is to make tactical decisions on a strategic map to play tactical battles. I want to be deciding what kind of soldier I bring to the tactical battle. What's the point if I don't get to do that? So
sure, I kind of get what he's saying in the essence that at that time period, that time period is interesting because you have to call on your fjord to come and fight battles. But if you take them out too long, it affects your economy, which is why it worked really well in Three Kingdoms. No, what's it called? Thrones of Britannia. Sorry, they came out relatively close together. Thrones of Britannia has that system, and it is actually, I think, one of the best systems that they made in that game. Don't spit your drink out.
No, I'm okay with that.
I personally like the feud system.
Yeah, no, I think that game is interesting.
I think it's a gem in disguise. I think sometimes
it's a piece of shit, but I like it. I like it.
Fine.
It suffers from the same pitfalls as Rome 2 and Attila. You know, it's just
an Attila clone. Obviously, it's built on the Attila engine.
Exactly, so it has the same problems.
But the recruiting system is one I personally like. You can't have a permanent army because of the time period. You have to gain that army in other ways and like use diplomacy more, which I like. Obviously, the AI isn't particularly great at that sometimes.
Yeah.
But because you've got, you have to balance your economy and your military. You can't like have a huge standing army everywhere. It kind of makes it interesting. So I think what he's trying to say is that in at least early medieval times, you have to send your troops back to do the farms. That's just part of the way of life. And if that isn't represented, it's going to feel a little bit empty, I think, sometimes.
Sure. If that is what he's saying,
I haven't watched that video, but
okay.
I assuming
I don't think that's what he's saying. But if it is, you articulated his point far better than he ever could, in my opinion. But I don't think that's what he was saying. But my argument to that is, Total War is about the battles. You know,
I want to choose my infantry. By the way, I'm not saying I don't want to choose it. I'm just trying to explain the historical context.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, no, and you know, historical context. You know, that's cool and all, but if it doesn't feed into the tactical battle simulation gameplay of my Total War game, chuck it. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Total War is a tactical battle simulator. If you cannot simulate battle tactically because of a new feature you're trying to put in and it doesn't work, you either find a way to make it work or you chuck it. You know, like with the Fjord system, you know, that's cool. You integrated that because of the time period. It created a cool little feedback loop. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it affected the battles that much. It
would give you a lot of lower tier infantry and less higher tier, which is kind of what they were trying to go for.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. You know, for like a tiny little contained thing, and
the strategy behind it is where do you commit your elite infantry, and where do you hold them off with militia? That's kind of the idea. Like you can't build so many of these troops because there's literally none available, and also you can't retrain them quickly either, and so you have to be very precise in where you commit them, especially as Alfred the Great, who's fighting against the Vikings,
right?
And so that's where you have to use your diplomacy to kind of bring AI armies into the picture and try and distract the AI when the Normans invade. So yeah, it's quite. I think it could be implemented well. I understand that I want to be able to choose my infantry and upgrade them, just like in Medieval 2 and things like that. I get that. But when I'm gathering, if there's a mechanic to gather infantry, that might be something that's kind of cool, like a kind of cool faction mechanic where you can like gather the fjord sort of as the AI is invading you. That could be a good example.
It has to be implemented well, and that's the problem with Thrones of Britannia. It wasn't implemented well. It was this new feature that was plopped on top of an already broken system, and they pretended like it was a new game, and that's why it fell through.
I played it afterwards, after all the patches, so I have a different opinion because
I didn't play.
I personally enjoy it because I'm from the UK, so I kind of like relate to the territory a little bit more.
Sure.
I think a lot of English players would do that as well.
But is it better?
I personally enjoy it. I find the lack of cavalry just quite a difficult challenge, because when you go up against the Normans and they have heavy knights and you have nothing, it's going to be interesting. You have to use your missile troops and there is a bit generic. I think people are like, oh, why am I fighting a shield wall battle constantly? But unfortunately, that's just the time period, and like you can't really get around it.
Yeah.
Like if they put like a heavy knight in, infantry knight in, it's like why is it there? People be like, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain of the historical accuracy and you can't complain of unit variety. You kind of have to go one way or the other.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. And you should vote for unit variety every time.
That would make the game pointless, and you may as well just make a medieval 3. That's my point. Though.
Okay.
If you're going to go for that time period, you've got to stick to that time period.
Well, you shouldn't just put medieval knights in, but I think if you're going to do it, you should find a way to make it work both ways. You should find a way to.
Personally, I think it works. I think it does work.
Right,
it's very different.
But does it? That's the question.
I haven't played it enough, but I would say I would enjoy playing it again. Let's just say that.
Maybe I'll check it out.
I can understand why people don't like it.
Yeah.
But I also understand it. It's kind of a more gritty game, if I'm honest with you. It kind of doesn't give you any favors, say, Three Kingdoms does, which I think is a very ridiculous game.
Really?
In many ways. Yeah.
I have people tell me that it's like a comeback kid. And I look at it and I say,
awful.
That's what I was about to say. These people are trying to get me to play this piece of crap.
I even, it's got good graphics and stuff like that, which people
cares?
like. But okay, so I think Vola made a video on this. I think.
Yeah, probably.
But I found out my own playthrough, and I realized he made a video on it as well. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's a unit which gives 100% missile resistance, and so all you do is you run up to the AI city. You plump it outside, you form a shield wall testudo thing, you let the AI waste all their ammo on it. It's 100% missile resistance. And then you just charge in and kill them because they've wasted all their ammo.
Is that Three Kingdoms?
That's Three Kingdoms. That's a generic spear unit you can buy.
Crap
That's not
game.
your elite.
Crap game.
But that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Also, the hero abilities are insane. But they made 2 separate ones. But what's the point of making 2 separate ones if you're going to commit both ways?
That's the problem with everything after Rome 2.
It's kind of leaning into mythology a little bit too much for me.
Yeah. Well,
diplomacy's good. Diplomacy's good. It's the best AI diplomacy, I think, of all time of historical games. Probably.
That's
because
brutal. That's brutal.
What's better? What's better? Tell me what's better.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm taking your word for it. If that's the truth, that's brutal.
Oh, right.
If that's as good as it gets.
It's a common theme, whether I'm right or wrong, or maybe people will disagree with me. I think it's a common theme that Three Kingdoms has good diplomacy and a lot of variety. You can do so much with it on the diplomacy side. I don't personally think the campaign map's that interesting because it's just one landmass, which unfortunately that's what just China is. And so we didn't have the Japan, we didn't have the Korea, which they scrapped. That would have been the sea part. I think that would have been the interesting part.
Would have been awesome. Can't do it.
But China does have like these cool mountain ranges and obviously the Yellow River and things like that, which you have to navigate. But it's not like multiple. Like you don't conquer one area and then have to like go to the next area. There's always the next area available, and I think that's a little bit difficult sometimes. The game tries to present it as a 2 warring sides and there's like a rebellion in between, and so you kind of build your alliance up with other independent character factions, which is kind of a little strange. But it's kind of trying to simulate the war, which it does okay, but I don't find it personally very appealing to play because it's very, very character-based, and the infantry are very, very lacking, and they have some weird units, like I've just mentioned, which don't really have like tiger units and things in DLC, which I didn't even buy. So it's just bizarre. I think it lent so hard to the fantasy side and so hard to the hero side that it became sort of a mixture between historical and fantasy.
Yeah,
which is okay if that's what we're going for. But
I mean, if you can make it work, and adhere to the, Total War structure, then it works. But everything, what's wrong with everything past Rome 2 and a little bit with Shogun 2 is that it hits this stat number thing. It's not a simulation anymore. It's just like a straight strategy game where you get 100% defense if you press an ability, and that.
Yeah,
they're going to have that.
Really
that in Medieval 3. They're going to have stuff like that.
I
in
hope
Medieval
not.
3.
They'll be alright if they have that in Medieval 3. Trust me.
They're going to have they're going to have bull crap like that in Medieval 3 for sure. I remember watching that Siege.
Carthage, maybe.
No, not Carthage. Not the Siege of Carthage. The Siege demonstration they did for Medieval 3.
Yeah,
And the sieges are exactly the same as Warhammer and everything since Rome 2. Just these munted, worthless, choke pointy. It's totally pointless. Everything still has health bars. Everything is still determined by numbers.
everything always had health bars. They just weren't visible, like in Rome 1. Sorry, like towers had health bars, but they weren't. It wasn't like a health bar.
Well, it's a vastly different system. Like everything had a health bar, right? But when it came to units, nowadays the collective unit has a health bar, and the stats applied to it are applied to the unit as a whole. It is one entity.
True.
Games like Rome 1, Medieval 2, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. Each character was an individual. You know, they moved as a unit, ways, but they had their own. They had their own hitbox, their own range of attack. If a unit hit another unit, if a character hit another character, that character would take damage. It wasn't a collective effort. In some ways,
that is true. You will have things like fatigue slowing down all the characters in that unit.
Yep.
You will have things
which is
like,
fine.
You will have things like other effects that slows morale, like canister, for example, in Napoleon. But I agree, like you can kill an enemy general in one musket ball, which happened to be before, like an overshot across the battlefield. Sometimes my general will say, "Oh, your general's being attacked," and he's like so far behind the line. It's because a random musket ball has hit his unit. And generals are very, very like paper. They're very, very vulnerable in that game, which is great. I think it's great.
It's perfect.
They are human after all.
Yep.
What I would say is I don't know enough about that, to be honest with you. I'd hope that they'd have more character stuff. I hope that they'd have more individualistic units and individualistic characters. The Rome 2 collision system, I think, is terrible. I think it's pretty much... I think they're going to fix that maybe, hopefully, in their new Rome 2 patches, or I'm not entirely sure.
They are going to ruin those games, and I'm telling you now...
I'm optimistic.
Don't be. That might be my biggest issue with you. Your optimism is crazy. Like I can appreciate optimism. Like with me, I'm a positive Polly too.
Yeah.
But I think expecting Creative Assembly to have any semblance of competence when it comes to creating games or fixing old ones, that is far out the window. If you watch
fixing old ones, a little bit tough. Yeah, I agree.
If you look at the Medieval 3 streams, they're celebrating when they attach ladders to units. That's technology they had back in 2000. You know,
right.
It's lost technology. They literally don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if they don't know how to do it. I think it's more of a, we're trying to show you progression. Or is that am I wrong?
No, that's their words. That's not me. That's them.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
They don't know. They don't know. It's.
Well, I hope that's not true.
Everything has to be rebuilt from the ground up. That's a quote. So yeah.
Maybe they're just rebuilding because they haven't used it in latest games. Maybe.
No. They literally say that it's lost to time. The technology's lost to time. They don't know how to do it.
I hope that's not true.
Don't take my word for it. Go watch the stream.
I absolutely take your word for it.
Don't watch the stream. But
if you think about it, Warhammer Sieges never had ladders.
Nope.
So you haven't got that. So you're putting out Warhammer Team, and they're like, oh, we don't know how to do this now. Rome 1 is a different engine by like 4 generations. Napoleon didn't have ladders. Shogun 2 didn't have ladders. Attila didn't have ladders.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of see where, like, the last game that had ladders was Medieval 2. To think about it.
Well, the last game that had real sieges was Medieval 2. You used ladders.
No, Shogun had pretty good sieges. Shogun 2 had pretty good sieges.
Yeah, but they didn't have the ladders.
And funnily enough, Three Kingdoms. Don't let me say that. Thrones of Britannia had fantastic siege maps. They were one of the best. It's also a common quote that people think that they're one of the best designed siege maps in the game because it was based off the Attila.
I call engine. Bullshit on that.
No.
I call. No. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Some of the maps, the siege maps in that game are awesome.
No, okay, Shogun 2.
I know what you're saying.
You bring up Shogun 2. Shogun 2's sieges are fine. They're not great, and I'll fight you in the street about that.
It's a very gamey way of doing it. It's not like a realistic. It's more like we've got a castle set up and we're trying to like take each layer kind of thing. I get that.
Yeah, but I mean, Medieval 2 had layers. Medieval 2 had multi-rung cities, and you would push up the siege towers and your rams, and you take the first ring of the city. You can't use the siege tower anymore, so now these ladders have a utility. They can be picked back up and put on the next wall, and then picked back up again and put on the next wall. They had a utility. The reason why ladders look the way they do in these Warhammer games and in Pharaoh is because that they had no use. They had no other use. The sieges were simplified. There was no use.
I think they've got sieges wrong. I think they're trying to rectify that. But I think it's an interesting discussion. What do you mean?
Well, have you seen the siege demonstration for Medieval 3?
Okay, let's talk about pre-alpha and the way they're doing it, because it's an interesting discussion. Hold on. It's an interesting discussion. Your facial expression betrays you, so it's fine.
I'm making sure you see me doing it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Go ahead.
No, I like it. It's good. It's good how it's back and forth because we get to discuss it. It's nice.
Yeah, I agree. I know.
Let's suggest something. So they had two options with Medieval 3, right? They could either do what they did with every other game, which was basically have no pre-alpha, no beta, nothing, and just release it to creators to do a play test and then do like a release on, I don't know, maybe a beta, maybe just a full game, who knows, and just try and do it that way, and just hopefully after they, testers and all that kind of stuff have gone through it, they're trying to find out, will this work or not, or, which I think is the correct response, this is the correct response now, they're going to do it by showcasing different parts of the game, showcasing the sieges, showcasing the factions, showcasing the campaign map and the developments of that campaign map. Isn't that a better way of approaching it than just having we've announced Medieval 3 and then 3 years later we've announced releasing the game? Isn't that a better way of doing it, having like a dev diary sort of thing? Is that not a good thing?
It would be if they were competent. But they're not. They're dev diaries.
It is an alpha. It is a pre-alpha. You're not going to see. It's very basic.
Well, so was the Siege of Carthage, and nobody can get that game to look that good.
Pre-alpha.
It said it was a pre-alpha on the.
Or at least alpha, right? I don't think it was
pre-alpha. No. Actually, what he said in the gameplay as they were showcasing it, he said, "This is super, super early code. We're way pre-alpha." That's a quote.
Okay, I hope that I believe you. If that's the case,
don't take my word for it.
That whole trailer is a disaster, but we'll leave that to the side.
It's fake. It's fake. It wasn't true.
Odd. Like if you look at that gameplay trailer, real quick sideline. You can go all the way up into the city. Yeah. And you can't do that in the actual thing. So it's a little bit of a... There isn't the line was like, we can follow individual soldiers and like feel their experience and stuff. I'm like, this is
and they're talking to each other while the siege is going on. Yeah. Complete bullshit.
It didn't go well, that release. It didn't go well, that game in general. I still think it's not a great game, but that's okay.
It's not a great game, no. It was a lie.
That trailer was definitely misguided. Let's just say it was not a good idea to release that.
It was a lie. It was a malicious lie. Yeah. And now nobody can ever trust them again. So, but that was super early code, way pre-alpha.
Yeah.
The initial Warhammer 1 gameplay reveal trailer that had pre-alpha stapled on it. That game doesn't look any.
It maybe is a bad term. Maybe they should just stop using that term because I think it's confusing people. Let's just say.
Yeah, well, I think they're using it as an excuse. So when you see all these bad things, like, well, you can't judge it because it's pre-alpha, but like we already know what the grift is. We know that you're going to say it's pre-alpha, and then that's how it's going to release.
I very much doubt they'll release anything like it looks at now. I very much doubt that.
I agree with you there, but I don't think it's going to get much different.
Really? I think it's going to change substantially in the next 2 years. Oh yeah, for sure. They're not going to release it like that. It would look terrible. If they release it like that, Sega's going to pull the plug on them. There isn't any
good
40k to. So they've got the incentive of that. The publisher is breathing down their neck. They're trying to release these, I think, devlogs as like a way to show the community the progress and bring them along. I think that was the idea. Unfortunately, it's turned into them looking a little bit incompetent in some ways, and I think that was always the risk. But I honestly, when I looked at those videos where they like put the ladders against the wall and they were walking up or whatever, honestly, it didn't trouble me because I knew that's not how the game will release. If it does release like that, I'm not buying it. So,
right. Well, the thing with the devlogs, they don't look incompetent because the game isn't finished. They look incompetent because they're hosting things like faction voting and asking you, what do you think is important for a Total War game? If these are questions you can't answer yourself as a Total War developer, it doesn't matter what you make. It's DOA. It's done. Nothing that comes out the other end of that pipeline is going to be worth a damn. It's over. Because how are you going to go into making something like I'm trying to think. Rule of Iron, right? That game. I truly believe that game's going to be the standard to beat when it's finally ready to be played. But Rule of Iron, you don't see Candyman out here asking people, what faction should I put in the game? What is important to you in a strategy game? He knows what he wants. He knows what he's making. He has a vision. He has a goal. He has a purpose. He is working to that goal. And he is hoping that final product that he views with the final destination of his art, that he views as proper and right and just, meshes, for lack of a better word, with the overall Total War community. That's game creation. That is the proper way to create a game. If you're asking me how to make your game, you're screwed. Like, what are you even doing? If you're going to ask me how to make the game, you might as well just let me make it.
So, would you rather didn't give people the option to choose factions, or maybe choose a different way, or what would be the correcting?
The correct way to make the game would to have a vision on what the final product's going to look like.
True, they might have. I'm saying they might have that vision, but they're trying to get people to engage with it along the way. I think that's kind of the idea of this faction vote, maybe.
Well, they're asking me what factions they want to put in the game,
right?
Or what factions, so they don't have a final vision. And if they do, it's horribly munted by the fact that they're asking other people what it's going to look like. And let's say they do have a final vision, if that vision is so easily changed on the whim of some random Joe Blow who says that you should put Hungary in the game instead of France, was that vision?
Oh no, the core factions will be in the game. I think it's going to be secondary factions they're going to choose. Well, I think core factions are in the game.
Whatever.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, if it can be changed on a whim by the input of somebody you've never even met, what's the point of even making it? It's not worth making. And
I get what you're saying. I think they have plans for most or all of these factions. I think they're just doing a priority order.
DLC,
maybe.
Yeah, DLC.
Possibly. I think DLC could be a bit of a risk for them here because it's not the same community as Warhammer.
They don't care. They don't care. I
think they will.
They're not trying to please you. They're trying to please their investors.
They're trying to. Well, the investors will see good community engagement, which will hopefully make them allowed to produce more factions. So if that's their output, I think here.
I think that's a screwed up feedback loop of nonsense. Like we got to get permission. From
maybe
the investors.
Maybe it is. But I suppose without investors, you don't have a game. So you've got to be realistic a little bit with it.
Candyman doesn't have any investors.
He's a solo dev. That's great for him. I'm not saying that he's doing anything wrong at all. I'm not saying he should get investors in any shape or form.
Right.
But he's putting everything he has into making a game, and hopefully that game does really well and competes, which would be fantastic because Total War needs more competition. And it's his art expression, and it's his game, and that's perfect. I think that's absolutely fantastic. But when you are a big conglomerate like CA is, and you have investors to please, they do exist, and it'd be silly to think they didn't. That's what my point is.
Exactly, and that's why game studios should not be big conglomerates.
So what you're saying, we should scrap CA and have just individual devs? Is that what
ideal situation? CA downsizes. If CA continues to exist, if there is a world where CA is going to make good games again, they would have to downsize significantly. Big companies cannot make video games because they're not making a video game; they're making a product. Candyman's making a video game. Studio Cherry is making a video game. The guys who make Vorderkroon are making a video game. Creative Assembly, Games Workshop, and Sega are making a product. And therefore, it is impossible for them to make anything worth a damn.
Interesting.
So, so what you say is true, and perhaps they couldn't have made this game without making it the way they did. And perhaps they are required to please their investors to get more DLC, or to get more factions to put in DLC. But by default, you are already making something that nobody should ever buy. And therefore, you shouldn't exist.
I get your argument.
Yeah.
I just think the situation they're in, they're not in the Rome 1 situation. Okay, good example, which I think hopefully you've maybe played, is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Have you played that game?
I played the first game.
You should play the second game.
I didn't buy the second game because they sold out to BlackRock. So
nah, you should buy it anyway.
No. See, that is the price of protest. You sacrifice
you are wasting your. No. Come on, mate. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the game of the year. It should have been game of the year, at least in my opinion. This is a company that holds festivals for their fans and things like that. So they're pretty much solo dev. They might have sold out to BlackRock as a backup investor, like CA sold out to Sega. That's not necessarily a good thing, but what it does allow them to do is have more injections of cash, which they need to then make more games. That's the idea.
I hope it was.
I'm not saying that's good.
Right.
I'm just saying that's the situation that we find ourselves in.
And I'm just saying, I hope it was worth it. I hope they make wonderful games. They will never see another penny from me.
Fair enough. I mean, I really, you are missing out on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It is by far my favorite game.
I bet I am.
A long time.
I've been wanting to play it ever since it came out. I refuse.
I'll buy it for you on Steam. There we go. Then you can't get around it. It's on sale. I'll get it for you, mate.
I cannot advocate for that one way or another.
If I see it on sale, I'll get it. It's going to be on sale soon. They're making Lord of the Rings game now. Absolutely 100% guarantee you, if they didn't have BlackRock backing them, they would have nowhere near enough cash to get the copyright rights to make a Lord of the Rings game. Absolutely no way. You know how expensive Amazon must have paid out of pocket to make Rings of Power, which was a terrible series in my opinion.
Trash game, yep. Or trash show, yeah.
Yeah, it is terrible, but they bought the rights to it, which would have cost them millions of dollars. There's no way that Kingdom Come Deliverance would have ever been able to afford that without backing. So there we are. There's a good example of a huge conglomerate kind of saying, here's the cash for your anticipated game. At
what cost? The game's not out yet. And
maybe they do have an agreement. Maybe they have an agreement with BlackRock saying that we are independent, but you get some of the profit, obviously, but we are independent of your creativity decisions. I hope that's the case.
Well, in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I don't know. This might be a little too inappropriate for.
That's okay. I haven't played a way through, but
yeah. Okay. Well, there were situations that were added after the fact. I assume only to please that particular investor. And
okay, right.
That adds nothing to the game, and only serves to placate the whims of a shadow entity that nobody asked to be a part of the game. So we might see stuff like that.
I'll have to find that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you, I can send you information if you want. I mean, it's not really pleasant stuff, but Lord of the Rings, yay.
Lord of the Rings game, if they make a Lord of the Rings game that's anything like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it will sell like hotcakes and it'll be amazing. I think honestly it is if I was to pick a company to make a Lord of the Rings game, I wouldn't pick Ubisoft. I wouldn't pick Sega. I wouldn't pick anyone. I'd pick them. I'm personally looking forward to it, and that's just my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how valid.
I think you should give them a chance because Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a fantastic game. I know they're owned by BlackRock, but most companies are owned by a backer now. It's like a patron, if you would.
And most companies suck. Yeah, everything is a nightmare now. You can't get anything done. Yeah, no. Trust me, I'm very aware. But the game's not out yet. I'm sure we'll see some nonsense. It took a while for the rot to set in at Creative Assembly when they were bought by Sega. We'll see it eventually, and I refuse to participate in the funding or perpetuation of that behavior.
That's fine. That's fine. I respect that. That's nothing wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's a great game. But I wouldn't. If you want to, I will. When it's on sale, I'll buy it for you. There we go. You can waste my money instead.
No, that's not better. I think that might be worse. I'm going to waste your money instead. No, I don't know about that. No. Yeah, I can't.
But anyway, I think we've drifted off a little bit. But,
yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. No, it was me. I mentioned it because it's one of my favorite titles. But we were talking about them implementing new things into Medieval 3, correct?
Yeah.
Like with the castle building on the campaign map, I think that was one of the features they mentioned. And I can't. Was there anything else particular that was brand new that wasn't included in previous titles?
There was the building.
Can't remember, honestly.
There was the building mechanic. Everything else was so forgettable. I'm having a hard time. There was. Oh gosh. That was the biggest one I remember because
that was the biggest one.
People were like, "Oh my gosh!" It's like, well, number one, the game's not out yet, and number two, they said it. It may not even be in the final product. And number three, we can't even get the basics right. We're going to reinvent the wheel. So what did you want to say?
Honestly, if we're going to pick and choose two sides, one side is we don't say anything. One side is we say a load of devlogs. Personally, I think the devlogs, I would choose that side. Maybe the marketing could have been a little better with the faction choice. Maybe they could have presented it a little bit better. Maybe they couldn't have. Maybe because it caused quite a big uproar, didn't it? When it came out, I think that was a bad PR move from them. But I honestly think that they're trying to just include people as much as they can. And if that's the case, then it came from a genuine position. But if it didn't, that's not great. But if it did, hold that view as well. If it did come from a position of we just want to make it available for people to participate in the game, but that is just part of the dev process. It's not like they can't change it afterwards or they can't do this or that. They have full creative liability license over what faction gets picked. I think they put it in the description or whatever. So even if if Papal States was picked, they said they wouldn't do that because it's too complicated, which... I would personally love to have played the Papal States. I think it would have been awesome. But there we go. But if you have how many factions are they releasing with it? Like 7 or 8, isn't it?
I don't know. They had the sheep people vote on, I think, 6 or 7 other ones. Okay,
so they're going to release with what? Must be at least 10. Correct?
I don't know what they're going to release with.
Let's just say it's 10.
Yeah, okay.
If there's at least another additional 7, plus the 5 major factions, it must be at least 10. Which honestly is not a terrible number in comparison to other games. Like Empire had 15 maybe less than that. Rome 2 had way less than that. Like Warhammer 40k has 4. So having at least 10 well-built factions is going to be quite a good release. Do you not think?
Well, I think we're focusing on the wrong thing here. They could release the game with 100 factions. We're assuming that they're competent enough to make this game worthwhile. And already we've been lied to about the very conception of the game.
What do you mean?
Well, they're out here talking about how, we care so much, we want this game to be the best it can ever be. Medieval 3 is a fallback plan to the World War I game they were making that was so bad that supposedly that when they showed investors, people got fired.
Well, there we go. It's important to have a concept game, isn't it?
Well, I would say maybe from the get-go, know what you're doing, and then make
Sega
what you
came in
love.
and scrapped them up. Sega came in and basically reorganized the entire team.
Yeah.
Because they were like, this is not working. Honestly, I agree with Sega in that position because I think World War I is an absolutely terrible idea for a game. I actually made a video on it a year ago, saying how it wouldn't work, saying why it's a terrible idea. And this was before it was even like public knowledge that it was a World War I game.
Well,
It's just a terrible idea.
Well, Creative Assembly couldn't make it work. That's
No,
the thing.
I think the format doesn't fit at all.
Well,
It just doesn't fit.
I don't know because
Trench warfare is not maneuvering troops. It's just a slugging match, and you have to advance over no man's land into machine guns. It's not tactical at all. Like it's in my opinion just wouldn't work. You'd have tanks. You'd have to have tanks from the very beginning of World War One to make it even feasible to cross no man's land. Like the British lost, I think, maybe a little bit wrong on the numbers here, but like 60,000 soldiers on like the first few days of the Somme. Like there is no tactical depth in that.
No.
It's just throwing troops at a machine gun position trying to break through, and it wasn't until tanks came in and they used a walking barrage that they could actually break through. The Germans had a little bit more success. They used stormtrooper troops to attack specific positions and take out go around like heavy fortified positions, and they'd use the rest of their infantry to push up. They did quite well.
Right.
But the problem isn't that. It's just that you're developing basically what would have to be a Men of War assault squad game. And so what's the point of making a World War One game? Because you're going to basically make Men of War assault squad, but World War One, which is less.
Right.
Well, it's not really.
Isn't that essentially what they're doing with 40K?
No, 40K is different because it's got. I don't know much about the lore, but it's got like.
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet. No, you're right.
We don't know.
I've already had my criticisms of it, but 40K is very much a individual character game again. It's got the tanks, it's got the aircraft, it's got the troop reinforcement. It's about building momentum. It's about as the orcs trying to get into melee rather than people telling me they're going to shoot guns. Apparently that's going to happen, but it's not. Like there isn't going to be a World War One situation where the orcs are going to be throwing themselves against an empire wall and have nothing that they can do about it. There's always going to be an option for the player, which is not something that could happen in World War One. Like, what they're going to do, like have the infantry chuck smoke grenades or something stupid. Like, it just gas was probably the only alternative they could use. But like even then, like the dynamics of World War One and how they were going to present it was so odd for a Total War game. Like, you just place men in trenches. That's all you'd have to do to win. There's no maneuvering. There's no like. You place your guns and stuff like that, but then that's it. Like, you have to just sit back and wait. Like, it's so boring.
I won't I won't get into the World War One topic too much, but
sure.
Not all of World War One was just trench warfare. You had the Alps and the way that they fought each other. Again, it's a video game. You make it interesting, and if you have a vision and a passion to see it done, you would make it happen. Creative Assembly doesn't have that, so it would never be possible. But my point of bringing that up is that Medieval 3 is the fallback plan to that mess you just described. So the nonsense where they're like, we want to make this game with you. We want it to be the best it can ever be. It's the fallback plan, so Sega doesn't shut them down.
I think maybe it was a requirement of Sega to do that. You have to show your progress to keep us interested in keeping you alive. I think that may be a backroom discussion.
This is allegedly, by the way. This is information that I have accumulated and assume is the case based off of what I know. They're at the show and tell showcase. No, I think it was the anniversary showcasing mechanics from that mechanics and maps from that World War One game, pretending like it's medieval.
It was a little odd. They were showing like European houses being destroyed. I agree with that, but maybe that was just like things they had to show. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we'll never know for certain. They had to pretend like Medieval 3 was already in development, and it very clearly wasn't. And if it was, they didn't have anything to show for it. They're banking off of these assets from a defunct game that got people fired.
I honestly don't think that they were that far behind production. I think because the term like pre-alpha was thrown around and people were like, whoa, pre-alpha means nothing. And then the next week they came out with this gameplay trailer showing us the campaign map and the concept of the campaign map.
Well, gameplay.
Well, they were showing the game engine. Let's just say
they were showing concepts in a grey box. Their words.
They showed concept and imagery, but then they showed some sort of like basic game engine, which is more than could have been built in a week. Let's be honest.
I don't know, because I think
it's feasible.
I'm following Candyman's development cycle, and I mean, the stuff he's doing in the amount of time he's doing it in, just being one guy.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't checked it out.
Yeah, absolutely, awesome. Check it out. Like this is the new hotness. I'm telling you, the stuff that he's doing in the amount of time that he's doing it compared to Creative Assembly. I mean, I question how much time actually went in to making those concepts, and if it is taking a lot of time, what the hell is happening? Like, we don't have much to show after months and months of work, and Candyman's basically got a working game already with mechanics that we actually want to see. They're out here talking about how the amount of fruit in a region is going to determine how many troops you can muster, and there's 200,000 peasants you can rally. It's like, okay, who cares? Like, I'm so over this.
That debate is more like whether we're going to lean into Crusader Kings 3 mechanics or if we're going to lean into Total War mechanics. I want to see. I've never played Crusader Kings 3. I think I've never learned it. I think it's too complicated for me.
Like, who cares?
I like the tactical battles of Total War more, and I like the number counting of Crusader Kings 3. I would quite like to learn it one day, just because you can have so many people in multiplayer. It's kind of hilarious when that happens.
Yeah.
And Total War, a cap of 2 is ridiculous, but Warhammer's actually. But yeah,
it's a party game, and people. I will never understand. Paradox games are not this grandiose feat in strategy gaming. They are a sandbox in which you can live out alternate historical situations. You set a policy, you wait to see what happens, and then you act on that.
Right.
It's not complicated. It's not.
Know, really.
I know just enough to know that. When people are like, "Oh, Total War will benefit from having this mechanic in it," I implore these people. I actually challenge these people to explain to me how you come to that conclusion, because I can't imagine a setting where my tactical experience is in any way improved upon by the machinations of how many factories have employees with smallpox in it. Like, how is that going to factor in?
It's too in depth for a Total War game, because you're splitting it between the tactical battles and the campaign simulation.
It's pointless.
I get it. I would personally like to see in Medieval 3 certain things that may have been featured in Paradox games. One of them, I think, is essentially important, is a supply chain feature. And for example, an army that goes into a territory, an enemy territory, has to have a route where it can have supplies. Like, cutting that army off, without doing all the complicated stuff, but cutting it off can cause that army to have to retreat. That's how, historically it was. It stops you from just going around the map and killing everything and not worrying about your troops' health.
For sure.
Personally, stuff like that would be really cool to have in.
Yeah.
But stuff like I'm building 100 different berry farms, it's got nothing to do with my I don't care. I don't get it.
It's pointless in a Total War game. And
I don't think that's what they're going to do. Honestly, I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to have the. Yeah, go on.
Well, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I think they're going to have the castle feature where you can strategically place stuff on the campaign map, a bit like Empire. I mean, what medieval? No, maybe one. Rome 1. First time they had placing forts and watchtowers. That was kind of important strategic elements of the campaign map. I think they're trying to lean into that more. You can build a castle here, because it's a strategic river crossing rather than the fact that it's just a castle in a province. You see what I'm saying? That would make sense to me.
Yeah, but I mean, what's going to stop us from building castles just everywhere? And what's going to?
Oh, there'll be a limiting factor, I'm sure.
Will there be? Like, I don't
I hope
know.
so. Maybe the resources. Yeah.
I don't think they'd have the foresight to figure that out. And if they did, would the AI know how to use it? You know, and that's the
AI is a different question. Yeah,
that's the most important part. Can the AI utilize all of these features? And from what we know about the most recent Total War games, the answer is 100% no.
It's never been good. Yeah.
Well, it was good in Medieval 1 and Shogun 1, but the supply chain thing that was in Rome 2 or Attila. It was one of those.
No, not really enough to make a difference.
Well, that's what I mean. It wasn't good. Like it has to be implemented well, and they've already done that, and we've seen how that happened. And I just,
but like in Napoleon Total War, for example, Napoleon couldn't go and invade Russia and have no consequences of it. That's not how it's feasibly impossible to do that in historical terms. That should have been a big deal.
I've seen the Ridley Scott film. I know it's hard.
I hope you haven't. That was terrible.
Oh, was that bad? Was that a bad movie?
Yo, chat. Oh my gosh! Did you just say that was that bad?
Is that is that an adequate representation of what happened? All right.
Yo, that film sucks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the worst Napoleon representation of all time.
Wow. Okay. Damn.
Dude. I'm gonna send you a movie called Waterloo. Okay. But in 1970s, 1980s, it was made. It employs the entire Russian army to make it. I'm not kidding. They film it in Ukraine, where they have like they use their Russian army units to actually dress up as Napoleonic soldiers. Everyone you see on screen is real.
Oh yeah.
They have real cavalry charges, like with thousands of men. Like it's not like the trashy Ridley Scott movie. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, there's so much we can talk about Ridley Scott, but anything in that movie is a complete garbage. Do not take that as
all right,
gold standard.
I've been waiting for somebody to give me a determination on that. I think you are as good as anybody.
They didn't fall through the ice on Austerlitz. They didn't have scopes on their rifles. Napoleon never led a cavalry charge. Waterloo was terrible. Representation was awful. They don't talk about the Russian. They don't talk about the Spain at all. They don't mention Italy hardly. There's a Borodino cavalry charge which never happened.
Bro,
there's
what
so
happened?
much better movies that they focus on the personal side of Napoleon, and it just fell through. Like Egypt representation is terrible. The whole thing is terrible.
No way.
They start off okay until on. They start off okay, and then like as it goes on, it gets worse and worse and worse. And my historical friend Chris actually, I think he like stopped watching it in the theater or something. He told me I don't know. It's the most diabolical representation of history ever. Trust me, bro.
Diabolical. Oh
like,
my gosh, bro!
Any historical nerd will tell you that who loves Napoleon. Trust
that
me.
is insane. That is an insane description of that film.
Let me send you this real quick while you're talking. Yeah. I'll send you a little clip from Napoleon 1980, and then you'll be like, bro, wait a minute, I'm missing out on the good stuff.
Well, I've seen. I watched War and Peace a long time ago. I love movies.
It's like War and Peace. It's like War and Peace.
Yeah, I love films like that where all the soldiers are like real people.
Have I got a treat for you?
Yes. What's that Tokugawa film about the castle? I've seen clips of that. I've never watched it all the way through, but it's basically the same thing, but in medieval Japan. But yeah, no.
Watch this. You might not better watch this on because of copyright or whatever, but on the because the music is kind of copyrighted. But yeah, you might better watch it on stream or just see how it is. I'm trying to send it.
We might cut this part out.
It's just like one tiny clip from it, the movie. This is the March of the Imperial Guard at Waterloo. Everyone you see here on screen is real. Like, it's not happening in Ridley Scott's movie.
No, and it should have. If anything, it should have. Yeah, okay. There we go. When was this made? 1970.
19s, yeah.
Yeah, I love stuff like this, man.
This is just one scene. Like, it is the scene, by the way.
Yeah, oh, this is like the scene of the movie. Uh-oh, all my apps are down here.
You're good, you're good.
There we go. Yeah, that goes hard.
It goes hard, and the whole movie's like that. And it has a 1 hour start to the movie where nothing particularly interesting happens, but you don't really care because you're really interested in the characters. And so actually, that for me, you have to watch that first hour when Napoleon and Blucher and Wellington are kind of sort of dueling in separate locations, and the acting by Napoleon, I think it's Rod Steiger, I'm pronouncing his second name wrong, is just incredible. It's honestly worth a watch. I'll send you the full movies on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, I can't find it.
Someone upscaled it to 4K like recently, so like it's been
nice,
really good. The whole battle is just incredible, and they filmed it all live on no drones, like nothing like that. Like it's all on Land Rovers. There's like a Scots Greys cavalry charge, which is just awe-inspiring. Like you'll love it. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's like you ever seen Gettysburg? The 4 hour long movie.
No.
I'll send you that one as well.
Cool.
That's on Amazon Prime. That has like Pickett's Charge and all that kind of stuff where it's all real actors. It's all real like stuff. That's why I kind of
love
like.
that.
Anyway.
I love movies like that. I love I watch the clips. The movies are just so long. Like I have other things to do, man. I can't.
You can just skip to the battle part in this. It's worth it. It's worth the 30 minutes it is, to be honest. But if you want to see the deployment, it's not boring stuff. It's just like you're getting into the mindset of Napoleon, and it makes the battle like 10 times better because you understand his like predicament and why he's there, and it's really interesting. There's some parts of it which is boring and stuff, but like. You're always going to have that in these old movies where it's like very drawn out, big sort of expressions.
Yeah.
Like Ridley Scott, man, it's just totally
just trash. Okay.
I honestly,
awesome.
I've only seen, just trash that in the back of your mind.
Cool.
And focus on this movie.
Cool. I did like Joaquin's acting, just as Napoleon, but
Oh, I mean, okay. Dude.
Whatever. But you
How
say
dare
the movie's trash. it's fine.
The movie is beyond trash. It's
diabolical, is what you said.
Yeah, it's deplorable, diabolical, in every sense of the word.
Oh,
let me just search something for you.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Well, get us back on track here.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No, it's fine. We're shooting.
One of our page there for no reason.
No, not at all. I asked. Warhammer 40K. I went back and rewatched your video on it, and I remember why my blood pressure spiked immediately. It was because you said it looked great. No, it doesn't. Number one. And no, number
okay.
two, you use a lot of words like is and will, like that.
Okay, let me just clarify why I said that, and it's important. Okay, if this is the demo that they are presenting to us at Gamescom, whatever it is, this is what you'll be playing, this battle. If they don't have the features in the demo in the main game, I'd be very surprised. It's why I haven't commented on all this trailer stuff, because all that's been scrapped. But yes, they will change stuff. Like this will do that, and this is that. But I can confidently say that if they're going to present a demo, I think with probability in mind, that most of, if not all, the features will probably be there. Let's say 80% to be generous, right?
Yeah. The
cover feature will be there. Let's be honest. If they're promoting this cover feature like it's like the gold standard, it may change, but it's going to be there. It talks about bodyguards for generals. It may change, but it's going to be there in some way. They can't just publicly release this and say it isn't going to be there. I know you're going to disagree with that, but that's what they should be doing.
You remember the Siege of Carthage? You remember that?
I swear, I've forgotten everything from 2017 back. I've
I haven't. And
I've got horse blinders on right now.
He's just trying to ignore it.
Looking at it.
Yeah,
looking at the screen like this.
See, that's the thing. You can't do that. And I will say this: I've gone into all of these streams with no expectations.
Good.
And I have been disappointed. Every time. So I would not put a single thing past these people. If you think it's going to be in the final game, if you see it now and you think it's going to be in the final game, there is at least a 50-50 chance that it'll either be changed or completely ripped out. And that's just 50-50. You have a 50% chance that it's going to be there.
Okay.
Everything else is left to conjecture.
Interesting. I honestly, I think that's a huge mistake from them. I don't think they could get away with it with this again. They've owned 2 Carthage trailer. The release state of the game was terrible. I think that you would even agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think they can help it.
It's so publicly obvious, and it was so just demonstrated, and people weren't even trying to look for stuff, and they'd find stuff wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think that even the most plausible defender of CA could ever agree that the release version of Rome 2 was good. Whether it is now or not is another question entirely.
No.
But I'm focusing on this really. From what I've seen from the gameplay trailer that and then they did a live stream where they played it on stream several times, so it definitely isn't a game in a controlled environment, sure, but where else are they going to play it on the street?
Well, I mean, it's one battle with probably a pre-selected amount of units.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same battle over and over again. I'm not saying that.
And specific people. So, I mean...
There were different outcomes in each battle. There were different situations happened. It wasn't the same script that went through. Yes, certain units appeared, but they changed the different angles they attacked the enemy from several times.
Sure.
And I think that you can't do that with just a RTX slapped on top of sort of gameplay trailer where it's everything looks great, but it's not real.
No,
I think that's very difficult to do.
I think it was authentic gameplay, but I think it was done in a very controlled environment, and it's.
Well, where would you have them do it? Where would you have them do it? I mean, they're releasing the demo to Gamescom for public to play.
Well, that's what I would like to see. That's like regular people playing it.
And if that's different to what they've done, then it's a plausible argument for it. I highly doubt that's going to be different because I think that's what they've made. That's their little demo version that they've produced. York to come in, the Empire's or whatever the faction Imperial player. I've forgotten what it's called now. But I totally get what you're saying. If it was a stage where they have a product, a video they produced where they have snippets of gameplay in there, like they did with Siege of Carthage, and had cinematic shots of it, and it's very easy to pick apart that. We've seen it with Cyberpunk, we've seen it with other games that when they first released, it was just not like what it was. But this instance, they played it live on stream. You could even see the screen they were playing it on from a secondary camera. Honestly, I think that if I was trying to hide something, that's not how I'd do it. And it's very difficult to do it live as well, by the way. Anything can go wrong with your pretend game,
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think it was fake, but I think that is the demo. When they said demo, I figured that they would have a working campaign model or something.
I doubt that.
Yeah, no, I doubt that too now, because I think what they displayed is the demo.
We haven't really seen campaign mechanics, let's be honest. There aren't cinematic shots.
No.
They're keeping under rugs for now, I think, which is fair enough.
Yeah, well, they mentioned a demo, and in my head, I was like, it's like a part of the game.
Like a prologue, sort of thing,
yeah, but it's I think that's it. I think that's all they have.
That'll be it, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's whether good or bad, it's demonstration of their capabilities to investors.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I thought you were gonna go, but also it's like them saying, look, we've got a workable build of the game. It's not perfect. It's got loads of new mechanics. To be honest, the cover system whether it works or not, we don't really know. It's kind of like a wider testing environment. They kind of wanted to release that, and they're going to tweak it, I think.
Sure.
It's not a terrible idea. I think it's a great idea, honestly.
But again, we're going from the basis knowing that this company does a lot of incompetent things, and
true, but they're about to release a demo, and if it's terrible, then they're going to get Sega on their back very quickly. Like Sega will be watching every move.
I hope
they can't
so.
afford to make mistakes.
I hope so.
Well, Sega lose a lot. Yeah, they do it. So
they're already making a lot. They've already, especially with Medieval 3, sieges are already screwed. Tactical gameplay is already screwed.
Again, it's pre-alpha, so like I get your point. If it was a beta, yeah, absolutely, but it's not. Is it? Let's be honest. It's pre-alpha.
Well, so was the Siege of Carthage.
It's a concept. Well, but I think the term pre-alpha has got screwed since then. Let's talk about now. Their version of pre-alpha is we're building blocks rather than building a fidelity kind of like trailer game, which was obviously not what they're going for.
Well, sure, but we've seen how they've used the word before.
And it's not great, but that was 10 years ago now, more than 10 years ago.
And they're still saying the same stuff now. It's not like nothing's changed.
But that version of pre-alpha and this version is very different. Like I'd be worried if that was the same.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd be worried if it was compared as the same, because obviously it's not. Like they haven't got ladders in. They're trying to like develop basic formats right now for battles.
Sure, but yeah, and the term alpha might be more appropriate for what we're seeing, but I mean, there's no point to take. Well, not that there's no point, but there's no reason to take them at their word now.
Well, that's up for debate, I think. That's a personal opinion, yeah. I personally think we should give them a chance, because it is Medieval 2, Medieval 3.
After all this time, you think they deserve another chance?
I don't think they've made a decent historical game since Shogun 2. In my personal opinion, I don't like Rome 2. I don't like the collision mechanics. I don't like the campaign. I think it's too basic and it appeals to too wide an audience. And then it appealed to nobody in the end.
Right.
The Emperor Edition did okay. The sort of more micro campaigns did okay. They honestly, I mean, like Siege and Gauls okay. Punic Wars is okay. Later ones are okay, but like nothing stood out for me personally. I don't go in there to play. I've made like, ironically, my most popular video is a Rome 2 video. Which honestly was what happened with that video. If you look at my channel, me and Chris wanted to make a Napoleon video and we couldn't get into a server, and so we were like, okay, what games do we have? Rome 2, okay, let's just make a funny game. Right. And it ended up getting like ridiculous views for no reason.
Like 50,000 views.
250,000.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Goodness.
But I used Rome. I mean, that video is kind of cool because I used Rome 1 general speeches at the beginning. So if you watch it has the original actor and the original music all the way through. Like, there's no Rome 2 music, I don't think. Maybe like a background song or whatever. But like, you have all the Rome 1 music. I'm very much going to be using that whenever I make Rome 2, because I think Rome music is fantastic. But like, it's very much like appealing to your Rome 2 and your like original Rome 1 fans, which is why it did really well, I think, personally. But it wasn't intended to do well. It was like, oh, we're just kind of trying to make something because we enjoy
you're making
just playing a game. Yeah. I went into a Napoleon Works and accidentally did well. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that was the last. I mean, Shogun 2, in my opinion, for the Samurai was one of the best DLCs ever. And that was when they sort of kind of fell off a little bit after that with the Rome 2 launch. Then the Attila didn't do great, isn't optimized well. I don't really play it that much. Prince of Britannia, personally, okay, but I did not do on launch. Three Kingdoms, not for me. Troy, not for me. Pharaoh is just bizarre and not for me. And so since Shogun 2, they have made a decent game. And I think it's a whole new creative team. A lot of people who have been I think I even introduced people who on the live stream who had made Medieval 2 back in the day. I think having those devs on board is good, especially if they're publicly promoted by CA now, which I think is kind of like they're like saying, oh, to the community, like, oh, we're trying to like employ the original fever of the game, like the original feel of the game. I think that's what they're trying to do with these like dev vlogs.
I'd have to go back.
Sorry, that's a little long spiel.
No, you're good. I'd have to go back and see who was working on Medieval 2 is on the team now, but the two leads...
I will double check on that, because I either it was Empire, Napoleon, or something. I think it was Medieval 2. I think it was one of their lead designers that they came on with one of the live streams. I'll double check that with you. I may be wrong, but it was definitely an older game that he worked on.
Yeah, well, Pavel, he was creative. I forget what he was, but he was involved in Rome 2, and then Life, not Burroughs, Life Walters.
I don't know these people. Sorry, by face.
Yeah, he's the creative director. He was involved with Warhammer 2.
Okay.
So you've got the two main leads, and Life is on his. He's making posts about talking about making a name for your dynasty, like that has anything to do with Total War. He's making a paradox
thing.
Yeah, that's nothing. So, I mean, I guess what I want to push to you here is that you say that you suggest that we should give Creative Assembly a chance. I think any amount of goodwill that they
optimism
have had,
I think is more appropriate.
My optimism is geared towards the idea that Creative Assembly will one day soon no longer have control over the Total War license, and they'll stop existing in the capacity of a company. But it's not
quite
just
a different opinion to mine.
Yeah. My positivity is based on the idea that they will no longer exist as a company anymore, and I think that day is coming soon. But apart from the numerous of bad games that didn't need to be bad, but were bad because they simply just can't make good games anymore. They are incapable as an entity to do it, and I think they've proven that numerous times over the course of the past 10, 15 years with the Rome 2 all the way up to Warhammer 3. You can argue that they're good games, or anything within that time span is a good game. They're not. It's the way they've acted towards the community, the way they've acted towards individual people. Just recently, Pilps got into it with that
upsetting situation.
Yeah, Freeman, who has left the company just recently, and that was a nightmare. Probably wasn't being honest. The censoring that occurred on Steam forums and on their forums.
Yeah, that's not great either.
The banning and just the way individuals behave on when it comes to
they have a public image problem. We can agree on that. The way that they go about fixing that is, I think, up for debate. And I think one of the tack they've chosen is to try and do more community development via the streams, via the dev vlogs, via the live streams, via the creator streams. Whether this is a success or not is up for debate. But the tact is, in my opinion, from them, I think, is that we've got to show we're more invested in the community than has been previously stated. And so this is the only game that's had these live streams. There hasn't been a single game before that they've been publicly doing dev vlogs, been publicly doing live stream for the community. They might have got stuff wrong, like with the guy leaving and stuff wasn't great, and I'm sure that wasn't what they planned. That's the problem with these live streams. You're going to have situations where these things happen. That's always been happening behind the scenes. We don't know about it. That's the thing. And so the risk versus reward factor for them here is that, yes, we can be more community engaged, but it's going to get us a lot more flack if things go wrong. And I think things have gone wrong. And it's just a learning process for them, I think, that they're going to try to go through. Yeah.
Well, they're a multi-million-dollar company. They're not five guys in a basement just now trying to figure out how to...
absolutely not.
The learning curve is long past. You don't get any more second chances. You are a company. You need to behave appropriately. And the fact that you're a company already dictates that by default you're probably not going to make any good games at all. But it's their behavior towards the community and their manipulation of the promotional side of things here on YouTube through their partner program and the people who push their products. It's all just really not above board, seemingly. And the way that those people interact with people like, Voland or Pilps or me, it's all of that combined, and then, like I said, we're long past second chances. We've reached a point where adding in paradox features doesn't make up for any of that, and it's still happening.
I agree.
Pilps had that spat with Total War. Pilps got banned off of the Total War channel because of some intern or whatever excuse.
That was a moderator. Yeah, it was a big mistake.
And that was happening while they were doing their community outreach. And in regard to the community outreach, what community are we talking about? Because now you have like 7. I recently made a video about it. There's like
7 different sectors of the...
Yeah, we have 7 different sectors of people who play these games. There is no single community. You got Warhammer
it's
people.
very difficult. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I see what you mean now. Yeah.
Yeah, you get Warhammer, Paradox, the Rome 2 people, the Pharaoh people, and then you have people who are out for themselves, and then you have the people who push these products no matter what because they're incentivized to. So who are we talking about? I'm not sure the Pharaoh
people make up that many numbers.
Well, it's like they don't, but they're there. That's the problem.
Poor CA Sophia. I think.
No, not poor.
They got a bad hand. They got a bad hand.
No, well, that's what you get for dealing with the devil. But my point is, it's like, you're gonna after being so sure for 15 years about what we wanted, now you want to do community outreach. Now you don't know what we want, and you're not going to figure it out because you don't have a community. You have several different communities who all think differently. And it
is a problem. It absolutely is a problem. I think they're a little bit stuck there. I agree.
Yeah, and it's not because of anything that happened outside of the company. These are decisions that this company made in the pursuit of profit. So, I mean,
it is a mistake. Not what they did was they branched out to different core audiences, and then left their ones behind. Which is what happened with the Warhammer games, and there's no DLC. And the historical games we had were Troy and Pharaoh, which weren't particularly great, based off a Warhammer engine anyway, which was already not great for infantry combat.
Trash,
yeah. So, Pharaoh did have a couple of good things. I would say that their infantry formations were good, and they had a good few different types of variety in that. So, you could do the only time I've ever seen an infantry unit being able to fall back without turning around. That was one of the good things. There were some people there that had some genuine interest in this, I think. If you look at shield walls, the different formations, they could do a forward advance and push in. They could pull back, and I'm picking on a very small thing. I don't think there is a good game.
Sure, yeah.
There are gems in there which I hope they transfer to Medieval 3.
Yeah. And sure, and that
as a historical nerd, I like that bit. Yeah.
Right, and that may be true. It's too little, too late. We're long past all these little things. They're cool. They're cool to hear about.
Oh yeah,
but
they're cool.
They're in games that are bad, and
it's a shame. It's a shame.
It's too little, too late. We're long past the point of wanting new features. Now you just have resentment. There's no desire for these people or for this company as an entity to stick around. We just want good games again, and these people.
And so do I, absolutely.
Yeah,
it just depends who
pushing out bad ones.
I think that's what. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think it depends on who you think is going to be the creators of those good games. Personally, I don't know if this could be replicated again by a different company. You've got an individual dev who's doing a fantastic job. I absolutely hope the best for him, because the more competition, the better. In this market that we live in,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's just how it is. But is there a company that can take CA's ethos and make it again? Honestly, I don't think so. I think if CA dies, Total War dies. I think individual people will make stuff that's good. Will it ever have the same mass appeal? I don't know. Like with Shogun 1 and with Medieval 1, they were, in essence, a small group of devs making a really good game.
Yep.
And so, but it was just luck that they managed. Not really luck. It was a great game, but it was the situation at the time. No one had ever seen anything like it before. You had 3D, like a 3D battle map. No one had ever done that before. And so there's certain like situations where, sorry, not situations. There's certain factors that have to fall into place for a games company or games development team to do well. And like even if Paradox made a Total War game, do you think anyone would buy it? Probably not. They might watch the trailer, but it'll probably be terrible in some ways.
Paradox sucks too.
I'm just choosing a big company, but like a small development team has a good chance of doing it. But in the gaming environment we live in now, like this isn't 2001 anymore. There isn't really going to be that same level of push. Like for example, have you played Strategos before? I think I made a video on it. I personally didn't like that game.
Me neither. Yeah.
Because it was like using a turn-based system. I didn't like it very much. I felt it was trying to be like Total War, but the mechanics of it were all wrong. It wasn't in real time. So personally, for me, it kind of flopped. And I think that I'm hoping that's not what happens with your guys. I haven't even seen the game, so I'm going to check it out as soon as we finish this.
Absolutely, check it out. Yeah.
And everyone watching should do the same.
But
I hope the best for it. Yeah, we're having a good chat. I'm sorry.
My bad. Yeah. Go check it out if you haven't. Please continue. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say I hope the best for these, but I don't think that this formula we've got here is they can remake it. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. It may happen in 10 years, but not overnight.
Well, yeah. Well, in the idea that in the kind of video game market isn't conducive to like independent creators, if I understand you correctly,
right?
I wholeheartly disagree with that. I don't think the environment's ever been more conducive to independent video game creators. Because we look at the AAA industry, it's falling apart. They lose money hand over fist every year. Every game that comes out is trash. Every remake that comes out is trash. People are sick of having the same stuff rehashed to them over and over again, and they're sick of the new stuff not being worth a damn. And then you have people like the people who make Hollow Knight or Expedition 33 coming in and blowing these people out of the money, out of the water.
Ideally, I agree with you 100% in the fact that in the perfect world, another company does come along, if say Falls or whatever, and it's made up with like people who've done maybe a little bit of that, and they make a game that's like Expedition 33. But we're talking hypotheticals so wide that like we can't predict anything like this. But I get what you're saying, like, but like. What we got to work with now is not that, which is what I understand. But but there are individual people and hopefully bigger teams that will soon be taking this project on, and that would be great. I am all for that 100%. I'm all for independent, as you know, with the server I made for small creators to do it.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be other companies. Like, screw the companies. No. Let individual people, do it.
If that happens, that's fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it is happening. Is the thing. Like when Skull and Bones came out, when that game finally released,
and
it was terrible game. It far shot from what it was originally. Right.
Yeah.
You go to Steam now. There's like 6 or 7 games that are either out in development or going to be out trying to emulate what Skull and Bones was promising. So it's not. It is never.
That's true. You've got a fair point there.
Yeah, and it will just keep happening over and over and over again. You have Dolphy remastering these games. Dolphy and
done incredible.
Team. he's put more love and care into these games than Creative Assembly's done in years.
And
you got
Feral
Candyman doing it. Yeah, and anybody did. You got Candyman doing his thing. There will be more people. There are already more people.
Fair point.
You got what is that? Parabellum Carthage. That's pretty close. There's one other
that's
one.
Gonna be awesome. Yeah.
You got Songs of Six. All of these people who grew up playing these games are coming in. It has never been easier to make a video game. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that at all. But it has never been easier. The tools have never been accessible. With combination of AI and Google and YouTube, you can learn how to code and make a game.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So there will be more. And my point is that we don't need Creative Assembly, and quite frankly, we never needed them. And pretty soon, we won't need companies like Creative Assembly. We won't need companies like Paradox or Games Workshop. These companies are essentially obsolete, and they are trying their damnedest to hold on to what little relevance they have left. That's why you see them desperately trying to reconnect with their audience again, because now they have to care.
They have to reconnect because it's their life or death. But I understand that. But
it's too far gone.
But the motivation behind it, I think, is maybe where we disagree. I personally think that there are people on that team that do care and that do have a passion for the game. But whether whose people are, I don't know. I'm sure you agree the same. I'm just saying that maybe the money side of it's a bit skewed. And I think around Pharaoh time, I think Sega scrapped a lot of people who were the Hyenas thing was a disaster. For example, that was a money grab in itself, and that was Sega came in and just they didn't release it, and it was the right call. Because do you know what happened to Concord? They released Concord, and who made it? And then it just died. It cost them more money when they released it. Exactly, and Sega made the right choice. Sega's been pretty on the ball with Creative Assembly recently, and I think that's helped them to push out these people who have been making not a great impression on the community. And I'm hoping that people they brought in are going to have a better impact, and that's what personally I don't wish these people to lose their jobs, and I know you don't either. I'm not saying that. That's a different side of it, but but I hope but I think the best chance, my personal opinion, and I understand where you're coming from with these solar devs, and I understand that the corporations aren't always the best. I personally think that the survival of the games we love the most is going to depend on whether CA can master this community drive or not, and whether Medieval 3 is a good game or not when it'll release. That's a good
I totally
way to kind of tie that off.
I totally disagree with that. It'll come down. It'll come down to us. It'll come down
if we buy it or not. Yeah.
Well, no. It'll come down to people like Dolphy and you and me and people who actually care.
Absolutely.
Make the kind of games that we want to see, to be the change that we want to see in the world. It'll come down to us.
I agree with being a change. I agree with being a change.
And I understand that I'm sure good people work at Creative Assembly. That's not my problem.
Okay.
And
okay.
I'm sorry. I
wasn't suggesting it was.
Right. No. Yeah. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying you work for a Creative Assembly. I understand that's how you pay your bills, but you working there doesn't change the fact that Creative Assembly is a tumor. You know what I mean? It doesn't change the fact that they're a blight on my hobby. And the quicker that Creative Assembly doesn't exist,
I suppose to come back to that is, would your hobby exist without them? Probably not.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But you wouldn't have Shogun 1, you wouldn't have had Medieval 1, you wouldn't have had Medieval 2.
That was a different Creative Assembly. The Creative Assembly that made those games are... About. Yeah, no. I'm not saying they should have never existed.
Okay, good.
Obviously, it's a good thing that they did, because I wouldn't have this love for video gaming. But it's that same love for video gaming that pushes me to advocate against the way Creative Assembly acts now.
They haven't always acted in the best way. I agree with you. I think people there probably agree the same way. I'm just hoping for. I'm just optimistic that what I'm seeing with these like open-ended devlogs, which aren't scripted, which aren't like always they have a certain level of like corporate, injection in them, which isn't great. I'd rather have them be in studio, be looking live at dev, like interviewing devs and being more personable. Right. I think that's something they could really work on. Like having it in a studio setting is very much like a blank corporate setting. It's just not, for me personally, it's not what the avenue I would have chosen to go down. Whether the reasons they couldn't do that, I don't know. But point is, yeah, maybe they don't want to, maybe they can't for copyright. I don't know, whatever reasons. But personally, I think it would be great to have some more personable approach to it in studio rather than they have done it before in previous Rally Points. But yeah, I mean, maybe we disagree on the fact that where we see the franchise going in the future. Personally, I think CA's made mistakes, but they are making. Okay, so the fact is they are making the game. There is no, they're not going to. Maybe the company collapses before then. But the fact is they are making the game, and so
sure.
Personally, I want the best for that. I want it to be a great game, like as I'm sure you do. I'm sure you want it to be a great game. I hope so.
Well, sure, but, yeah. I wish
it's not necessarily likely or unlikely, but it just depends on how you view the company, as to depending on what you would assume you're. I don't know. I'm kind of getting mixed up here, but like.
Oh no, you're all right. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but it's a matter of pattern recognition.
Okay.
If it's not, the games haven't been good for 15 years, and that changes now because they have a new.
No, it doesn't change. I'm just saying that there's optimism in the fact that they are trying to change. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, whether you think that makes them inherently better is not really relevant. It's more like they're trying to take steps for the first time to live stream. They're trying to take steps to show pre-alpha builds that don't look perfect. Like the Siege of Carthage reason that was terrible for everybody is because it was advertised as the end product and it wasn't even close to the pre-alpha version of the Siege of Carthage.
Because they lied, yeah.
Right. But like the what they're showing now, they very blatantly said is pre-alpha. Is obviously pre-alpha. If it looks anything like that, I think that man,
sure.
If you think it looks like that, then fine. But like personally, I don't think it would look anything like that. I think it would look a lot more updated.
I'm sure the graphics will get updated, and I'm sure, but we're already starting off from a basis of the tactical aspect is already munted, the siege aspect's already munted. They're asking people what they should be putting in the game. Like we're already off to a bad start.
There's two sides to the coin. Yeah. I'm looking at it from like they're asking because they want people to be invested. You're looking at it like they're asking because they don't know what they're doing. I kind of get the two sides. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they want people to be invested because they know the audience that they're currently trying to appeal to wants them to not exist anymore. And when I say them, I mean Creative Assembly as an entity. This whole thing, like I said, it's a marketing ploy. It's not because they care. Roger Cullum doesn't care. Like he has supposedly, or not supposedly, but assumingly, in my opinion, he has Sega breathing down his neck. Because
he definitely does, yeah.
Because the company's been a disaster. And nobody likes them anymore. So I mean,
yeah,
like and I understand you want to be positive, but
yeah,
I would hope that you take into account the history of Creative Assembly when you make your statements.
Okay, yeah,
and that. I guess being the crux of this whole conversation. If you want to be, positive about their ability to make a game, that's your prerogative. But I think it would be wise to take into account that any time you discount the history of Creative Assembly and the way they've conducted themselves and the games that they've set out, you are potentially perpetuating this cycle of malicious DLC business modeling and poorly made games.
I am personally, if it was a perfect world, I'd love them to release a 70 faction game or whatever. I know I'm not trying to straw man your argument here. I'm really not. I'm just trying to say, like with Medieval 2, like they released the full game, right, and they released some really good DLCs for it. In a perfect world, I'd love that. But we're so far gone into the DLC quagmire that I don't think if they did that, it would be a good thing rather than a bad thing. But is it likely? Probably not. So yeah, I think personally, understanding that, I'm trying to work with what I have rather than trying to wish something that isn't going to happen. Like the company has to make money, and I understand that. But like, whether the question whether a DLC is required to make the game good is a different question. Like for example, Rome 2 did terrible things with DLC. Like for example, like I think I mentioned this to you before a long time ago, but like certain units in certain factions were not included, and that made the multiplayer really unbalanced. That's not good. If you have DLCs for factions that already exist, that's not good in my opinion. Right. I doubt that would happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. I don't think they did that for Warhammer, unless I'm wrong.
What did release DLC?
No. Release DLC for all existent factions. Like so they didn't make a Vampire Counts 2 DLC that you had to buy to get better units.
Yeah, that's the new one. I think they just released new units for the Vampire Counts.
But was it like paid, or was it like a free?
Paid?
Was it free DLC, like an update for the faction?
I don't know.
That's a good question to have.
I don't think so.
Like, personally, I think it's morally questionable to bring a faction up to date with DLC factions and then ask the audience to pay for that. I think that's a little bit questionable.
Well,
I would be.
I think they've definitely done that. I think they've definitely done that with Warhammer.
That's what they did with Rome 2.
Yeah. No, you shouldn't. They shouldn't do that.
Rome 2 did that, which was bad, and no one liked that. Mannheim may be a different faction entirely from the Empire. I don't really know the lore, so I'm not really like too keyed in on that.
Well, they are, but they've been in the game, and now they're like getting an update 15 years later, and you have to pay for it.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Well, and my point to that is, you say that you're trying to work with what you have. My message to you is that you don't have to. You don't need this company. Like, they suck, and you don't have to put up with their nonsense. That's why they spend millions on marketing to get you to put up with their nonsense. You don't have to do that.
That's why I haven't invested into the new games, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's not really my thing. Yeah,
good.
I kind of like to stick to what I like historically. My hobby is the Napoleonic Rome era, so I haven't really touched Warhammer unless we're trying to inject Napoleonic warfare into it. So.
Very tentatively trying to.
But like, I'm not doing a DLC update on every video. Like, I haven't even made a Medieval 3 video yet because I don't want to get drawn into this like this faction or this faction kind of like weird video idea. And I understand people have done that who are more news channels, but like that's their prerogative, and also that's their style of content. They're not a gameplay channel. So you can kind of see that they have to report, and others they have nothing to report on because it is still used. Yeah,
I mean, but that
whether that's a good thing or not is up to a question.
Right? That's not my problem.
I personally haven't done that because I didn't feel like it was what my audience would want to know about, and also they can get it from everyone else.
Everywhere else, yeah.
Like, why compete against a product that you can't even compete with? Like, there's no point. I'm making good content because I enjoy it with my friends, and that's great. We're making like really cinematic videos. We're doing these huge campaigns. We've got a 20-player campaign coming up very soon. Like, that's kind of the scale we want to go, the direction we want to go in. I'm hoping that Medieval 3 does well, but honestly, I haven't even watched the latest live streams. I'm kind of tuned out for that.
The only reason I'm watching,
we're arguing about, not arguing. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
No, you're okay.
I said the only reason we're discussing this really is because of the current news. But personally, I'm not invested in it,
and I don't blame you.
I'm just trying to maybe like play a little bit of devil's advocate here, not to say you're wrong, but to kind of like just make this an interesting discussion. That's cool.
Sure, yeah, that's cool. And I appreciate that.
bit of back and forth, which is fine.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think you've done a great job of that. I'm not wrong, but I do appreciate.
I wasn't trying to convince you. I'm also not an advocate for CA. I'm not paid by them. I'm not a partner program member. I don't have to say what I have to say. I just think that I'm just trying to look at factors. Like, I suppose this is my final point on the Medieval 3 stuff. Like, have they done this before the pre-alpha stuff? No. Therefore, they're trying something new. Have they done a faction vote before? Yes, it's not gone so well, so I doubt that was a good idea. Have they shown pre-alpha footage that actually has been pre-alpha? No. So, you've got to weigh up, like, if you're looking at, if you forget everything else, which is not necessarily a wise thing to do, looking at it from a very, very unbiased opinion, have they done this before, that or not? You can kind of say, yes, they're trying to do new things. I think that's a positive way to look at it. When you bring everything else in, it's not.
If you ignore all the negative aspects, anything can be positive. That's true. Okay, the new scheme, might look good.
I suppose I haven't explained that very well, but you kind of understand where I'm coming from.
I get where you're coming from. Yeah, and I don't think I agree with it, but I see what you're saying.
But honestly, I don't really. When it comes out, I might look at it, but like, it's not come out for 2 years at least. So like,
I don't know.
I'm not even concerned about it right now, if I'm honest. Like,
it may not even come out. It may not ever come out.
Exactly. Then all these feature videos are going to look really weird.
I don't know. I make these videos in the hopes that people who aren't usually heard are heard, and maybe
that's great.
Maybe Sega sees it and it's like, we got to shut this down. We got to shut it down. Don't let them release this. We're going to lose money.
If they mess up 40k, they won't be a Medieval 3. Trust me. They won't be.
That's their cash cow. Yeah, that's their.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well, there's nothing you can do to stop that inevitable snowball.
No, but all empires fall, man, except one. But so. We've been at this for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and cap it off here. What do you like? So, what are your plans moving forward? Right. So now, seeing what's happening in the community and the company, what are your plans moving forward? Do you have any intentions on maybe doing some advocacy stuff, or are you just gonna make stuff that you're genuinely interested in?
We've got no plans to do a CA. I honestly have no plans unless they release something major to make a video on it. Like when they released the Empire update, that was major enough for me in my sphere of influence to make a video on it. Yeah. But I don't even think I made a video on the fact that they've made a Rome 2 update announcement. I thought that was pretty lame. I wasn't really interested enough in it. I don't think my audience would be interested enough. I'm focused. My niche of content is I managed to break the game slightly with Napoleon and make it bigger and more historically accurate. And it was kind of like, oh, that looks cool. Like, I'm not a modder in any way, shape, or form. Like, I was looking at code the other day for the first time, thinking, oh, this is cool. But like, we had to on our Egypt live stream. We do some live coding, which is kind of fun. I don't actually show it, but Dan does some live coding. But we put a new a new script into Napoleon that allows it to spawn units into the game, and that makes me have a starting army kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is cool. Yeah. But like, as for going forward, we're going to be moving towards more of a community-based videos, I think, rather than like news. I don't really do news anymore. I tried to do a news couple of videos and I just flop like crazy. So I'm good, bro. I'm good.
That's fine.
Just do what I like doing. Yeah. I hope Medieval 3 is good, mostly because I really want to play these like really big campaigns with 8 people or plus. That'd be kind of cool. Like you could be Teutonic Knights, stuff like that. Like
sure.
I don't know. Have these 8-player games. We haven't had that in historical, and it's a real big shame. They have it in Warhammer, and there's a capability of it. In fact, Rome 1 had original plans to have a multiplayer campaign, I think, and they didn't do it. Empire had a multiple player campaign, and they stuck to 2. Like, they've really let the ball go there, really. I think Crusader Kings 3 has kind of swept up all that audience of, like, multiple player campaigns. But Warhammer did it relatively well and seamless, I think. That was one of the benefits of that game. Like, we were playing a multiple player campaign just to test it out, and it's really quite nice to play and not have crashes every 5 minutes.
Wow, so it wasn't crashing. That's impressive.
No, well, compared to how we have crashes, I mean, like, we crash. In multiplayer campaigns in Napoleon, if you build outside of your turn, you will crash the entire game. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, if you move anything, if you add a general, if you touch a unit, I think Dan recruited a general once in my turn, like, with the little button, and it ended up being in the middle of the sea, and I was like, what on earth is that unit doing in the middle of the sea? Because it's general with a flag, and I was like, this is broken, we're gonna have to get like 4 saves back, and that was another 4 hours of footage. So that's what I mean by no crashes. Like, we experienced a lot of crashes in Napoleon, like a serious lot of crashes. But like with Warhammer, it was like playing ice cream. It was great. Comparisons is interesting.
Yeah. Gosh darn. Well,
that's what I'm going to do, really. Yeah.
Well, good. You go. I support that. I support you trying to connect with people, and I support you, being authentic and being genuine. And even though you're like wrong about a bunch of stuff, I do respect. I do respect you trying to make genuine content and actually enjoying the stuff that you make, which is a real the biggest reason why I wanted to connect.
Sure. 99% of the stuff we talked about today, I'll never talk about on my channel. Like, I'm a content guy. I'm not like a news guy. So like,
for sure.
So you'll never hear me talk about like. I mean, I may have made videos in the past, let's be honest, but like upcoming, I'm not going to do like a top 10 reasons why Rome 2 failed video, I might release it next week, and then you'll be like, whoa, he's like, I'm kidding.
Yeah, do not make stuff like that.
That's not my niche. That's not my, we already have enough. That's not my niche. So, and it's good to identify that when you start making content, like, you've got to stick to your niche.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit. Yeah.
You have an identity, That's good. That's good. Well,
there we go.
Shoot, man. Thanks for coming on here and it just shooting the shit. I appreciate it. I'd say
it's good to talk.
Yeah, it is. It is good to talk with somebody that's willing to like challenge you. And I appreciate it because it's not necessarily a net benefit for you to come on here and do this, but you being one of the only people really near the vicinity of people like Terminator and Andy coming out here, that's real ballsy, and I respect that.
No problem, and it's been great. I knew we'd get along, so I wasn't too worried about it.
No, me neither. But and if you haven't seen Tomic stuff, go check him out. Give him a subscribe, give him a like. Give him a comment, hype his video.
Whoa, that's what the hell now.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that does.
It doesn't seem. I'm like, I got hype points. Here you go. I have a few hype points, whatever that does.
But
make sure you check out my new video, guys. It's going to be 10 reasons why Medieval 3 is going to succeed. Welcome to the CA partner program, Tomic. I'm here, boys.
I will become your biggest adversary at that point. I'm going to make an hour-long video about that. But it is early in the morning now where I am, so we're out of here. Thank you, Tomic, for coming on.
Take care, man.
See you guys later.